Oh, yeah, but see, behind the scenes, I would have preferred to go up staff. But that's not happening.
Well, because you want to. So.
That's very much. Oh, we can say, do this.
Yeah, it's right.
He has to know what you can't let you.
And then there's like a blue thing.
Or city
And
council.
that's
Yeah,
like
it looks
blue.
well done.
Yeah.
This line.
You cannot let it. And then, exactly.
All right, we got it. That's so earlier. Okay, so I did, and now it says disconnected. Yeah, that's still. Okay. Okay. Okay, no, we'll take it. Okay. So that's fine. When you're done recording, we're gonna hit the red button again to stop it. And she said just to make sure that you're recording the audio. It was recording, so we manually started recording. Elion said this disconnected message didn't hear anything. And then I told Marisol that when you guys were when she's done recording to hit it manually again, and then make sure she's
Okay. Good. So what about this already recorded there?
That's
how it's.
Did you do Nancy? So you started
Mhm.
and you clicked all that?
Mhm.
And then
I hit the little red button and start. So it just comes out the same.
Oh, it is now.
It's just something that you
It's still good.
Yeah, it usually pops up.
Is it?
No, we just had, my daughter and all her post-its for the house. Yeah, I messed up that blue button. Did they know how to do that? Or is it just like
Do you want to push it, close that? Well, we can't because if it goes to me, she's got to do it.
Do you have a recorder?
Both recorders are going.
So it's not resolved?
It's partially.
Okay. It's not on YouTube, but it is being recorded.
Okay.
Both video and audio.
Okay, so we will stop. Okay.
So what was really here?
Changing it from.
We partially resolved the issue, so we're gonna record, I think the issue is not until we cannot, stream it YouTube, but it be recorded, post later.
Right, so we're all set, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 5:37. Please make sure everybody that you silence your cell phones, let the record show that everybody is here. We have one. Next up is the approval of the minutes. Is Is there any discussion on the December 11th and the January 24th minutes? Seeing no discussion, can I have a motion to approve both Monday, December 11th and Tuesday, January 24th, 2024 minutes?
Make a motion, sorry. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up is public comment. Public comment? Seeing no public comment, we'll close public comment. Public meeting items are next, and it is the review of Article 4 zoning districts and regulations, Part 1 and Part 2. So I'll hand that over to Sarah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, Land Development Code Committee, did you all do your homework from last time? You did, okay. So one of the items was to go through the permissible uses table. And we're going to briefly go through that because we want to still try to stick to the 2-hour mark if we can. If we can't, I would say just an additional 30 minutes more, but that's it. So, Sam has the permissible uses table up. Did you all have, we'll go through each category. So you'll see the permissible uses. So anything that is a P is permissible, anything that has an S is a special exception use order. And if there's nothing there, it means it's prohibited. So this discussion came up, we were tasked with looking at special exception use orders to see if we should do away with them. And so we talked over with the consultant. So staff and the consultant believe that we should still keep special exception use orders. It is typical in municipalities across the country to have special exception use orders. And there are uses that would typically be prohibited, but under certain conditions, it could be compatible with the surrounding area. So our special exception use order, I put the criteria for special exception use order on the table, so you have the criteria. One of the things that we have to look at is whether or not special exception uses, and you'll see on the first page, we have to make sure that it's compatible, that the use is compatible with the surrounding uses. And then we have to make sure that the site is adequate to fit the actual use without causing the need for many deviations. We also have to look to make sure that there's proper mitigating techniques. So we look at buffers, we look at the type of landscaping, perhaps the hours of operations. We also look at the traffic impact of it. And then it talks about hazardous waste and, have hazardous materials, especially around the well fields. And then compliance with all applicable laws, so it has to be compliant with all other applicable laws. So when you look at the table of permissible uses, permissible land uses, did anyone, let's go through with, did anyone have any comments on the table? So we'll go through with that.
So
however you want to.
What are we gonna do?
You had said going page by page.
So you want to do that?
I think
Okay.
so. I think it'll be easier.
Okay, so let's look at the residential. So you have single-family residential, you'll see that it's permissible. We also look to see what uses should not be permissible and what uses should be permissible. And we created some new uses as well, so you'll see that. So single-family residential detached, you'll see that it's allowed in the different zoning districts. And these are the single-family homes that are not attached. So we consider townhomes single-family attached. So this is single-family detached. We have mobile homes. You'll see the districts that it's a special exception use, which is in R2. And that was deleted from there. You'll see that it's permissible in MH1, permissible in agriculture.
Do we
Single family.
have any MH1?
We do not have MH1 on our zoning map. We do have a category.
So someone
We-
can rezone to it.
Actually,
They
we
want
are
to
proposing
yeah.
to do away with the MH1
Okay.
zoning district. You also have two family dwelling units, which would be the duplexes. Those are all permissible in different zoning districts. You also have the zoning map as well, so you can see what the zoning districts are. So we have multiplex, which is a new use, that's permissible in the R2, R3. I really need some glasses. And then you'll see the other districts that it's permissible. Multifamily dwelling, you'll see that it's permissible. The consultants were proposing to have a special exception use order in the downtown mixed-use district, gateway district, and marketplace, as well as West Mitchell-Hammock. We decided as staff that it should be a permissible use in those zoning districts instead of a special exception use order. Then you'll see the adult care, home, those are all special exceptions, except for in R3. We have the bed and breakfast, special exceptions, and you'll see RCE and the other zoning district. Child care and home, we have comments next.
Could I ask a question?
Mhm.
So is there a definition of what a bed and breakfast is? Because it's just a different kind of hotel or motel, so why should it not be allowed in some of these downtown districts?
It is the thing we were looking at is that it should have a residential character. Although it's a commercial use, it's a so it should look like a home instead of a commercial business. So in our definitions, we do have a definition of it, and we can go to the definition section. Can you go to the definition?
I'll trust you, we don't want to waste time.
Well, it's okay, because it's a good question. So we can go to the definition. This proposed. It should be.
So I guess my.
It says owner occupied. so
Yeah, and it's owner occupied, it should have a
I
residential.
withdraw my concern.
Okay.
However,
Ah,
you have it saying that it's permissible in the mixed-use downtown, but not in a downtown neighborhood, which I would think that the downtown neighborhood is more residential focused.
That's a good point.
So if you're going to allow it in the mixed use, which I would say either switch them and make it special exception in the mixed use, because that's going to be mostly redevelopment, and then do it in the downtown neighborhood. Because I see bed and breakfast sometimes as being in those historical areas that are already residential, and I don't see that in being like the mixed use areas.
So let me read the definition to you. It says an owner occupied house, a portion thereof, where short-term lodging and meals are provided for compensation. So it's a house, single family. It would look like a single family house.
So you have single family allowed in downtown
Neighborhood, yes.
neighborhood and then mixed use downtown CA. So at the very least, I think it should be in downtown neighborhood and then not the other, or special exception and up the next one up, but not in the one you have it as.
So if you consider what is physically located in MUDCA now, it's a lot of converted houses that are office. So I think the character there is fine and it shouldn't bother anybody. So my view would be make it permitted in both. But I understand in the downtown neighborhood, if you have a single family home and someone wants to put a bed and breakfast next to you, it might be disturbing. So I don't necessarily think that it's wrong the way it's on the chart. So if you're putting a bed and breakfast next to someone's house, they'd like to know that you went through a special staff process and had a hearing and so on and so forth. And there's one in Oviedo, right? Just one right now?
There's
Kings
one,
Manor?
yes.
which is in a residential zone on King Street near the Methodist Church, but I don't think it's incorrect the way it is.
Do we
personally.
allow single family in the downtown?
It's permissible.
No, in the downtown mixed use district.
No, so we don't allow it in the downtown mixed use district. The existing homes will be considered non-conforming.
So we are just allowing the bed and breakfast to the non-conforming.
Well, it's a commercial operation, although it looks like a
I know,
house.
so, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We should call where
Whatever
single family is
family.
allowed. So if
So-
the idea is to be able to convert, I think it makes sense.
But there aren't, how many homes, there's not that many homes in the DMV right now, there's a couple. Right?
Very few.
Very few. So they can have a hotel.
Or they can have a bed and breakfast, which is a conversion right of a house, looks like a house.
So that's why the special exception's in DMV.
Yeah.
I like it the way it is.
What is the consensus of the board on that one? I would think it would be allowed in all residential. Right now. It's gonna perform as a commercial operation in residential. So you're gonna have people coming to stay, overnight, different rooms. It's gonna perform as a commercial operation.
So the impact is different, right?
It's
There's
not
more
like-
impact of
You're gonna have more
traffic. So we allow it in the residential, but not in the very protected residential areas.
So, being with what you're saying, I find the special exception in downtown neighborhood, but I think the mixed use downtown CA should be permissible because you're allowing single family. And then, you know, whatever you want to, if there's only a couple of houses and you want to allow them to be, I'm fine with that, but operationally, does that need to be a special exception in the DMUD because it's non-conforming? So therefore, would its use change if it became a bed and breakfast and therefore operationally, legally, does that trigger something? So that it's a special exception and not
So
permitted?
it's not common because of the use, because it's residential, and we do not want to see single family detached. Actually, it's decreasing the non-conformity, right? So we could even allow as a permissible.
I'm happy the way it is.
That's
I'm happy the way it is.
So one of the things that we were concerned about is when it's in the commercial district, because it's a single family, it has to be owner occupied and it will look like a house. So we know that it operates as a commercial business, but what happens if the business goes under and someone then wants to convert that into residential? So that was the main concern, and do we want something that looks like a house in those commercial areas? So we were gonna change the definition or try to have the consultant readdress the definition of bed and breakfast. That we had that same discussion.
So one of the things you might do and bring it back is have a maximum number of bedrooms, some reasonable upper limit of what a bed and breakfast is.
Yeah, that we can do that too. Okay.
Deborah, how are we handling the so-called Airbnbs, which would not be allowed?
I didn't hear the question.
How are we handling the Airbnbs, which is not?
We don't regulate them. Now, if they decide to, if they rent out the whole house, we don't regulate them. If they rent out the rooms, then we consider it a rooming house, which is prohibited in our code unless it's a special exception, in residential districts. So this bed and breakfast, they can rent out the individual rooms, and we regulate that one. Okay, so what is the consensus of the board on this one?
Leave what you have.
Leave what you have, which is it permissible in downtown? I thought it was
Permissible?
It was a special exception.
Special exception.
Been permissible.
Downtown neighborhood
I think it's great.
So I thought we said permissible and, so leave it the way you proposed. We said
Okay.
leave it the way it was, that's what we meant.
Okay, so let's put it down.
Not the
Yeah,
way
I
it was.
proposed, yeah, what was proposed.
What you.
I apologize, yeah.
Okay,
So permitted in CA,
okay.
which you know, there you go.
So SP,
We should be specific, not the way it's right, the way it's.
So downtown neighborhood, it should be permissible?
no.
Special
Special
exception.
exception, let's put it back, special
Then
exception.
permissible, then special exception.
Permissible and then
Yes.
special exception, okay. All right. Childcare and home, that's regulated by the state. So childcare and the home, this is less than 5 kids. So we allowed it to be permissible instead of special exception use order in the residential districts. In all of the residential districts. And then also in RP, which is residential professional, we changed it from a special exception use order to permissible. We also changed it in agriculture, downtown neighborhood, and also in MUDCA, from special exception use order to permissible. We can't regulate that, we don't even know who's doing.
Well, where a house
childcare
is
and
allowed,
home.
you should allow that.
Yeah, exactly, that's what we did.
And isn't there a statute about that?
Okay, and so rooming house is what we just mentioned, which is a special exception use order. We do have these occasionally where people will want to rent out their individual rooms to students and to other people. It's a special exception use order in some of the residential districts. It is now, consultant is proposing to make permissible in downtown neighborhood.
I would agree to that. Because it's no different from doing another more intense use for people that live there, I think.
No, it's not permissible in R1. It's special exception use order in those residential districts. So R1, R1A, and all the residential, R2, R3.
I think it should be all special exception.
So in DN, it should be a special exception, I would think.
Is there a consensus? Okay, let's move back to special exception. Residential community home, this is also regulated by the state. We changed it to permissible in residential professional, downtown neighborhood, and MUD, it's special exception use order.
So why would you allow it in MUD and not CA? I think that's kind of backwards. You're trying to avoid residential character type things mostly in the MUD. There's nothing wrong with it in CA, I would think. So if you're allowing it in the residential district, why would it be a special exception in DN, which in essence is residential?
Let me read you the definition of it.
This is residential community, is that?
Yeah.
I guess you need a definition.
Is that the new definition of home? Yeah, we'll have to get a definition for that one, but this one, the state regulates, we don't have a local definition. And this one is for how many people? The residential community?
It's under 6
Is under 6.
for the home. Yeah.
So this one is a number where you have multiple people living in a house.
That one is 7 to 14, it's the adult family care is 6. Under 6.
So residential community is 7 to 14.
Yeah,
People living in a house.
commercial.
So I find it a little odd that you would permit it in less intense residential districts and make a special exception in DM. And it shouldn't be allowed at all, I don't think, in MUD.
Okay, so that's the definition. It's a dwelling unit licensed to serve residents who are clients of the Department of Elderly Affairs, the Agency for Persons with Disabilities, the Department of Juvenile Justice, or the Department of Children and Families, or licensed by the Agency for Healthcare Administration, which provides a living environment for 7 to 14 unrelated residents who operate as a functional equivalent of a family, including such supervision and care by supportive staff as may be necessary to meet the physical, emotional, and social needs of the residents. And this is based on Florida statutes. Community homes of 6 or fewer shall be deemed a single-family unit and non-commercial residential use. So this one is more. So this one is 7 to 14.
And that's why it has the character of a residential home.
But DN also does, that's all I'm saying. So if it's permitted in R2, R3, DN is not dissimilar from that, so. And I would think you wouldn't want it in downtown mixed use. My 2 cents.
What is the consensus of the board on that one?
How many do we have now? Do we have any of them?
We don't have any.
We may have one.
There was one, adjacent to that subdivision I did on Pine, whatever the subdivision is to the north, there was one there. It might have been below the 714, it might have been the 7 number, I don't know, or the 6 number, I don't know. But there was one. Evelyn had 7. Some of them went 7 down.
Yeah, we had some in Tierra, and generally, I think it does depend on the load, but my HOA days, they were being looked at as more commercial use, and then the residential neighborhoods were complaining about the amount of nursing staff, and it's dependent on the need inside the home, so that's where it really becomes but it does occur out there, and generally, if it becomes a problem, then it becomes noted by the residents in the neighborhood.
So if it's a problem, should it be a special exception everywhere? Or does the state law prohibit that?
So we'll have to check to see if we make it a special exception.
That's our comment.
Yeah, so we'll have to check to see if we can make it a special exception. Okay, so the next one is going to be temporary residences. This is for construction model homes. So today it is a special exception use order. It's for the model homes in the subdivisions where we plan for people who want to come. It's a sales office, that type of stuff. So right now it's a special exception use order in the different zoning districts, and we're making it a permissible use. Because you need to have a sales office, you need to have a temporary construction office in the different zoning districts. So I don't see any comment on that. Okay, so we deleted home occupations. It should not be used, something that just happens anyway. Accessory dwelling units is a new use. This is based on the comprehensive plan that allows accessory dwelling units. So it's permissible, it was intended to be a special exception use order by the consultant, and you'll see we struck through it, and we're allowing it as permissible use in the different.
So it doesn't make sense in DMUD, I don't think. Am I reading that right? You have it permitted there?
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense in the core areas, I would think. Because you don't have a dwelling, now you have an accessory dwelling.
Except for if you have the different types, because if you're, so I think we're allowing different types. We originally intended for it to be just associated with single family, homes. I think the consultant is looking at more than just single family.
So I don't know how that makes sense. You can have an accessory dwelling unit for multifamily, you just have one more unit. I don't understand.
I know.
Yeah, I agree, like, if it's, again, going back, single family, maybe multi-flex, like one of those, if they have, depending on how they're designed, right? They might have a detached garage or something like that with each one, I don't know. But if there is not residential allowed, then how can you have accessory dwelling?
No single family, right?
So, right,
We can highlight that and, when Kate
I
comes,
think
we
it should
can
come out
have.
of all of those, personally. If we all agree, we can
Yeah.
recommend it.
Yeah,
I don't agree to that, but then I just noticed a single family attached, so how many units is that?
Single family bunch of townhomes, right? So it's more than 3.
So they're not gonna have.
we
It's
do have
not
like
meant, so
Michael Collins.
ADUs, it's not meant to,
But we, what's a, development that?
City Place.
Okay, City Place. So you have City Place, that's in Oviedo in the park. And he has the non-residential on the bottom, he has a townhouse on the top, a unit on the top, and then he also has a garage with a mother-in-law suite.
It's
So
a
you can
duplex
do it.
or it's a townhome, it's an allowable use anyway.
It was not approved as an ADU. So my point is that for single family in the downtown core, what's that? Not as an ADU, no. It was approved as an additional unit, because they had density. It was approved as townhome, ground floor, retail, and not an ADU, because we did not have any ADUs. We don't have ADUs regulated. So it was approved as an additional unit.
So if a
And
development
it was
comes
not
along
approved
that's
as an accessory dwelling unit, for sure. The city place. But I think the problem here is that if we do not, if single family is a non-conforming use, then we should not allow it to use.
So I say take it out of all the core districts.
I think it should stay in downtown neighborhood.
I think the one for the
That's not a
yellow.
core district.
Oh, all right.
It's all right.
I was just looking at that.
We'll take a look, because we were having a discussion not that long ago.
It was not approved. We don't have any views.
So I think we want to make that
It was,
recommendation.
as, a unit above the garage.
I have one more comment. So two-family dwelling is allowable in the, two of the districts. With those,
Those are not the core districts I was referring
okay, so
to.
you're
I'm saying
referring
DMUD, GWCMP, and whatever that last one is.
to everything beyond the first two.
But you think
Yeah.
two family, so duplex is allowed, so another discussion that are we going to allow ADUs with duplex? Or only with single family attached?
I think by definition, we shouldn't let an ADU goes with the house.
Single family.
It's that simple to me.
Single family.
Anything other than that is bewildering to people.
So if we are not going to allow in a duplex, then I think we should remove it.
Right there.
So keep it in the downtown neighborhood, but remove it from everywhere else.
Well, keep it in CA. Someone has
Oh,
a
I
house in CA.
I meant this way. All the green. I want to say you said.
Yeah, DMUD, GWCMP, and I can't read that last one.
So is that?
Oh, and keep it in CA.
Keep it in CA.
Yes.
If the West Region family.
Thank you.
And then my other question was,
Is there a consensus on that?
oh wait, hold on.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have a comment. I know we had this discussion. Is there a reason why we're not allowing it in agriculture?
We probably should, if someone has a house, why shouldn't they have an accessory
Is
dwelling?
that a P with a strike through? Because on mine it looks like a P with a strike through.
I think it's an S with a,
I have an S and a P.
yes, so I think ask her to strike
It was
through
a
the
P,
E.
which is.
It's a P.
Yeah, it should be.
This table does crazy things in the city, so it
I'm
probably.
looking at the it's a P.
Okay.
Is your house A1? There you go. Go, either you or this.
Okay, so then we have the live work unit, and that's when you have, your non-residential, and then you, or your non-residential on the bottom, and then you live above it. So that is a permissible use in residential professional. It was a special exception use order. Office commercial, permissible, we changed it. C1, C2, special exception use order. And then downtown neighborhood, it was, special exception use order. We're recommending downtown neighborhood permissible, MEDCA permissible, and downtown mixed use district permissible, special exception in Gateway West, Mitchell Hammock permissible, and Marketplace permissible in West Mitchell Hammock.
So I would say wherever you encourage mixed use, you should allow live work without special exception, like Gateway Core. I would think anywhere there's multifamily, you'd rather have mixed use, live work makes sense, right? So it should be permitted in GWC.
Agree?
Okay, so now we go down to business, professional business office. They combine, business office and professional office. Those are like your attorneys, you also have your doctors' offices, those types of, uses. We put it permissible, we only changed with that one, we made it permissible in, the new targeted areas. Banquet drive-through, put it permissible in residential professional.
You mean no drive-through?
That's exactly what I meant. Banquet, no drive-through, permissible in residential professional, and also in the downtown neighborhood and all the other gateway districts. Targeted areas. Medical clinic hospital, it was a special exception in AC, we changed it to permissible, and then it's permissible in downtown mixed use district, Gateway West, Marketplace, and West Mitchell Hammock corridor. And I'm just gonna keep going unless I hear you want to say anything.
Medical clinic, hospital, and then space technology, give me just a 2-second, what's the difference between that and professional business? What's the differential?
So
I know you say the hospital, I go, okay, but.
the clinic is you have a clinic around. That's not a doctor's office or a professional office. Title companies are a professional office. We have a definition
So
of
the walk-in
professional.
clinics, I'm gonna say like
So-
the
so-
clinics, the walk-in clinics.
Clinics, there's different, and
So
you have
technically, I
hospital.
think anyone who gets a license from the state is a professional. So if there's a doctor or a nurse running a medical clinic, it's a professional office. I don't know how you can say it's not.
So the ITE also has definitions for office and also medical clinics and hospitals. So this table was originally drafted based on the ITE manual, which is the Institute of Traffic Engineers. So it's based on that. So those titles comes from that. So it's really based on the traffic that's generated from it.
So I have two comments. I see a big difference between a medical clinic and a hospital, and the traffic and the size and everything else. So I would recommend splitting it because I don't see a hospital being maybe some locations versus a clinic. I think they're two different beasts. I might be alone on that. And then my other comment was, I'm not sure why space technology, aviation, and aerospace, if it's an office, if it's under office use, why can't that just roll into professional and business offices? It's still an office.
You have them as a target. That has nothing to do with zoning, right?
This is a new use to consult consultants introduced. So we can certainly combine it, but they have it as being special exception use orders in some
It
districts.
doesn't really make sense to make a special exception if it's targeted and wanted.
It's not manufacturing.
But we're not done with medical clinic, are we?
Right, no.
I
So
think,
do you want to split medical clinic from
I think hospital should be its own thing, and medical clinic is just an office.
Right.
I don't think medical clinic is an office in my opinion, because they feel like.
right? Yeah.
Well, it depends on the size.
The only
We've
difference,
got 5 little medical clinic, walk-in clinics that are in shopping centers all around. I don't see how that would be, putting Dave's, in your, your professional building that's sitting where you're at, any different than the karate place or whatever, that it's not gonna generate any much more.
see, I think you're falling into a trap of definitions.
No, I want it out there, I think it should.
I say take it out. See, a
Stay
medical
professional.
clinic, the only difference is you don't need an appointment, period.
Which makes a big difference for the parking, right? Because an office,
But
you make an
but you
appointment.
can have a parking standard for a medical clinic, that's not an allowance thing.
But the parking relates to the impact, right?
Well, again, for the hospital, I think we're splitting the hospital.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, a facility where they expect ambulances to come through would be in a different space than.
But that's not a medical clinic, a medical clinic is, you're going there, so you don't make a doctor's appointment, you just show up.
But sometimes you can go to urgent care and then the ambulance there because they can't handle it. So.
That can happen at a doctor's.
You can do that at the hospital, you can do that anywhere, listen.
But when they build.
Tremont probably gets more.
Yeah, but I think we need to separate out hospital from anything else.
Similar to drive through like the hospital has.
Right.
So without a definition, a medical clinic's no different from a professional.
So I would recommend, my recommendation is for the staff to go back and figure out if medical clinics need special consideration other than office, and see if they need to be separated out. Is my suggestion.
We have a final discussion here.
I'm not gonna offer you a chair, she wants you all to get a better definition for a medical clinic.
To see if there's special regulations or something that has to be labeled as something else, even though it can be allowable in all the same places that your business and professional offices are allowed. Since you guys are saying it's the same thing, and you want to get to them being allowed wherever professional and business offices are
I just don't
located.
forget what we need to define.
We just need to figure
How
out.
do we define
if
the word
it's
medical
separate.
clinic?
Well, we need a definition or we can't talk about it.
Right. Hospitals separate out,
Hospital ER,
and then tie in the remove space technology, because that just falls into office.
simple and.
What was the consultant's rationale for creating that separate category for the space?
Because it's a target industry and it wasn't listed, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't listed, and we like to have different uses, so that when people come in, they want to know if the use is allowed. The more prescriptive and specific we are with the uses, the better it is for us to say, oh yeah, you've been into this category. So this was a new use. We're okay with separating it. We can put it wherever office is permissible, so we can do that as well.
If you have it, you should have it wherever office is allowed.
So, but I don't know if they mean office, right?
But it's under the office category.
Let's read the definition.
We're under the office
Yeah.
category here.
But I don't know if
Just to
it-
mention, the staff mentioned moving it to the industrial use category.
That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Read the definition.
Depending upon what it.
If it's an office, it's an office.
No, if they're manufacturing,
Mhm.
But that's a manufacturing use.
Or they have certain found whatever that they're
Well,
just.
there's separate
Simulations,
requirements
they may
about
have
that.
simulations, they are not doing, I think there was something to do with simulations.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, simulation is separate.
Okay, so that definition is an industry category that covers research and development, manufacturing, engineering, and design of technology related to air and space exploration.
So,
So it also includes manufacturing.
I'm sorry, say that again?
It includes manufacturing.
So
Engineering.
I think this is an absurd.
So what if the space or whatever company is doing manufacturing of rocket fuel.
There's already rules about that. There's rules about materials, there's rules about noise, there's separate ordinances about all those things.
So we're not gonna have like more
Well,
than
we don't
5
know.
seconds.
We don't know, so that's why there's a special exception in the more, because commercial is the more intense. You don't want to, we don't know if it's going to be office, but once you include manufacturing, manufacturing is more industrial, it's more heavy commercial type uses. So we have it as a special exception in C1 and C2.
And permissible in the
And
industrial,
I1,
yeah, so it's permissible in the industrial
Kind of
use.
works with it.
Sorry,
There's too many voices, I couldn't agree.
so it's permissible under the industrial use, right? Because it's manufacturing, and we are saying we only allow in C1 and C2, which are the commercial districts. C2 is the most intense commercial district, C1 is the last, but under special conditions.
Yeah.
We will have to see what are the special conditions. So if it's heavy manufacturing, we would say, no, it's not compatible with the surrounding, right? So this is why we do not want to get away with the special exception use order, because some uses make sense depending on the intensity, depending on the characteristics of that particular, use of, and we will only analyze that and mitigate, because a special exception, we can require mitigation. So we can require more buffer, we can require, soundproof, we can require additional stuff.
I agree with keeping.
So,
You have other.
Here's a big problem. You're conflating use with nature, with the type of business. That doesn't make any sense. Industrial uses are industrial uses, manufacturing uses are manufacturing uses, office uses are office uses, okay? Space technology, aviation, and aerospace, what if it's something else of a similar nature? It really makes no sense to, in my view, conflate the line of business with the type of use. So there's already regulations about noise, there's already regulations about vibration, they're in the code of ordinances. So this really makes no sense. It might be a target industry, but it doesn't make sense as a zoning category.
So we can, the consultant is coming the next meeting, so we can put a question mark for her too. Because I think there are some uses that even, if there is simulation, for instance, even if it's office, but they
But that honestly, we're creating this narrow category that it's an office or it's manufacturing or a combination of those things. And we're gonna get later on to industrial uses, but I think this makes no sense. We don't say under professional office, list all the professions, and now we're taking this very narrow thing, and it's a line of business. It's not a type of use.
So if I have 400, I'm gonna have 400 printers that print a widget for the space manufacturing. I'm gonna have to go to a special exception order to
in
just.
C1, C2.
Why C1 through C2, I'm just gonna have, it's a professional office, I'm gonna have 32 guys, okay, I'm gonna have 32 people that are doing code for aviation and.
You have printers, you're printing a 3D printer.
I
So that's not an
have
office.
10 3D printers, and they're gonna print things up, which is probably, if you have, half the offices have a 3D printer, and it doesn't make them a manufacturer. And and shift the governor to them as a large-scale manufacturing, because you have 3D printers. That kind of thing. I think Dave's right in that you're taking out a use that's specific and trying to say, well, that specific business, because it's aviation or whatever, you can list tons of other, business. Well, I did technology. I'm trying to think if I did anything in aviation, no. But if I did, I'd be like, well, okay, I guess I'm aviation because I'm in technology and wrote code and stuff, so I have to get a special exception use for a building.
I think it's a big mistake.
So let's put a question mark for them to explain what was the intent. When
No
they
matter how
started.
they explain it, I think it's a big
Oh,
mistake.
maybe we will say it's a mistake.
But let them explain.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments?
So that was the definition of office. We have business and professional office, which were both combined. So, business office, in office of activities such as real estate, advertising, insurance, travel agency, ticket sales, abstract, and title companies, insurance, etc. Retail or wholesale goods are not shown to or delivered from the premise to the customer. It says the beauty of barbershop is not a business office. Then professional, which is what they combine, an office of the use of architects, engineers, attorneys, accountants, physicians, lawyers, dentists, etc. Professional offices generally offer consultant services. So it's not a consultant service, it's not a professional.
So that's
And then-
screwing with the definition, that's if you get a license from the state, you're a professional, period. That's
Well,
the
per se,
definition of the
but I
word,
think-
so
Yeah, they're defined differently here.
I don't
Maybe-
think we should.
Well, we have to, because we have to know where to put them into this category.
But we're combining offices and professional offices into one thing, right?
Well, it's combining the use on the table, and it's combining, yeah, I think we are, because this is allowed in the same uses anyway. So we're just putting the two categories.
So I just don't like et cetera. What does that mean?
It allows for flexibility.
If you have an office and you're not a professional, you're a regular office. If you get a license from the state, you're a professional. And that's what that means.
You're just mad because it says real estate and doesn't make you a professional. You're a professional, it's okay.
I don't care.
So we'll
Wise guy.
we'll have it explain this.
I still
Unless you all
show
are good with it, the way that it is.
I think it makes sense to just keep it as is.
I think if it makes your life easier, then, and with that definition where it was saying manufacturing and or this, special exception, and if it is just an office doing coding for NASA or something like that, then that's an easy, just make your special exception application easy where.
They can't, it's already defined. So this, honestly, Madam Chair, they said the consultant's gonna come explain this to us. I don't think we could consensus it.
That's what I'd like.
Was there consensus on splitting medical clinic and hospital?
Yeah, we wanted the
Well,
definition.
we really spun out there, so I want to come back to
However,
that, sure.
But we wanted
In the
definition.
definition, you said business, if you're going back to that definition, medical clinics is in your definition.
Well, that was my point.
So that goes back to under office. Or is that the
So
super category?
if a medical clinic's different, you're gonna have to say in your definitions, that a medical clinic's not a professional office, if it's different.
I'm
So it
wrong.
should be allowed in the same,
That's the super, that's the upper
that's a good
category.
one. Yeah.
It's not a breakdown, my apologies. I thought I was solving a problem.
Okay, so let's move on to personal services. Personal services are now permissible in the targeted areas. It's already permissible in OC, C1 and C2. Personal services it's more retail. Because we're under retail, sales and services category, it's just retail. Daycare center, it's special exception use order and the residential zoning district was a special exception in residential professional. We're recommending that it's permissible. Then it's in the new categories, it's permissible in the targeted areas. And that is an actual commercial operation. Beauty Barbara, we combined that already. Now we're at the drugstore, and that is a special exception. It was permissible, it's a special exception in OC, and also permissible now in the other districts, downtown neighborhood, mixed-use district, Central Avenue, downtown mixed-use district, Gateway West, Marketplace, and West Central Campus.
So just, and I don't know that everyone in the room knows it, It's now state law, I believe, that wherever you allow a drugstore, they're allowed to have a dispensary. So the council, when they were working on that, didn't like it in what's now CA and CN. So they had to do a certificate of vesting for the pharmacy that's located on Central, that's there now, to prevent it from being a dispensary. So I think we need to be really careful here, because we're opening the door to dispensaries in that residential character area. And while I might not have an issue with dispensaries, a lot of people do. So I think we need to be careful here. So I would say take it out of DN and NUDCA, or so you have it permitted in the less intense district and permitted in CA. Either make special exceptions or just don't allow it. Do you really want a drugstore in that character of an area?
We don't have a problem with drugstore, right? Yeah.
I would think not, personally.
Yeah, unfortunately, we ended up having to restrict drugstores because of the state regulations.
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up.
But,
because of what you can get.
I agree with Dave on that.
So what?
So
is-
just wipe them out from
Just
the end
delete
of
them?
CA.
Okay. Out of the entire targeted areas? Or
No, just
Any
the end of
DCA?
CA.
Okay. And what about the rest of the board? Are you okay with the other zoning district?
Where it's OC, it's a special exception.
C1.
C1. Why wouldn't it just be allowed in C1?
I think because we have C1 very close to, UDs, residential area.
Ah, okay. Just curious.
I'm good with it, so.
With what I said?
With what you said.
Okay, wow. Steve's not gonna tell me to show up this time.
No, I'm good with it. I'm good with it everywhere. I'm one of those, I can care less. If he has a restriction, I'm good with it everywhere, to help me.
We're making it hard for Stephen to find his fix.
Okay.
I apologize.
Automotive repair shops, no trucks or outdoor storage allowed. We made it permissible in West Mechanic corridor. That's the only, and then we deleted it from OC, office commercial.
So what's the justification for, because you think Mitchell Hammock has a different character? I mean, I'm just curious.
And everyone can chime in. We all felt that Mitchell Hammock already has that type of feel there. So we were okay with allowing it.
From the four target areas, Mitchell Hammock is the one that has more of the commercial support.
Well, everyone's got to fix their car somewhere.
Our staff comment was to create a footnote here to require that to be actually on Mitchell Hammock itself.
He's not here to answer, but isn't the tire store in Hank's project in the back?
It is in the back.
And isn't there another place on the south that's in the back, the car wash place, or is that different? That's different, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be different. What is the name of it?
So-
Top
I would think,
No.
instead of saying directly fronting, I would say access.
Christian Brothers.
I would say direct access to Mitchell Hammock, not fronting. Because you're kind of disallowing something that's, nothing wrong with it.
Don?
I'm not familiar with their zoning, but what does this do, for example, to automatic and muffler and things automotive in terms of outdoor storage of vehicles? Does that make it both do that?
Where are they located? Which ones are you
Automatic and
saying?
muffler is over by Sonic, and the other one is on Broadway, just west of, I'm sorry, it's east of Central.
So the one over by Sonic should be a commercial, a commercial zoning district. And we can look and see where they're located.
And I'm not sure they're the only ones, they just came to mind and said, right, I don't know.
So that,
I think that's Gateway
I don't
West
want to
Court.
repair, it does nothing to it because it's already commercial. C1 and C2, we're not making any changes.
I think that's where he's talking about, is going to Gateway, Gateway.
It's on Gateway.
Yes.
So that one in Gateway, we are not allowing it. So it would make it non-conforming. And so you have to,
We want
when
to
it
do that
looks,
to our existing small businesses, I'm not sure.
you
Well, it
want to,
allows it to stay but not expand, but I don't think there's any room to expand there anyway.
and you want to kind of see if that's you're creating, vibrancy. You want to see if that's a type of uses. And that's where this comes in. You want to see if these uses are the types of uses that you want to see in these targeted areas. So, that's what we look at to see if it's one of those uses that creates vibrancy, if there's synergy between the different uses. So you want to see if that's the type of use you want to see in the area. It doesn't make, we're not going to go there and say you need to shut down at all. We're not going to do that. They can continue operating. It would just be a non-conforming use.
So what is the zoning today there? We are just removing in OC, right?
Yes. It looks like it's in the Gateway District.
So, so it's because we're changing the.
We're now
the zone.
creating,
What's that mark in DMUD? Is that just a random mark? Oh, those are curses. Silly me.
What happens to a non-conforming use of a business or a property is sold?
Well, it has to cease operating for at least 180 days. So if it ceases to operate for 180 days, and we can show that it has ceased, then it has to now come into compliance with the new code.
It loses the legally non-conforming status.
Not if it's sold.
If it's sold, then they continue the operation?
We don't even know when it's being
It
sold.
doesn't affect them. It will only affect if they want to increase, the square footage of that would be affected. Because they would be increasing the non-conforming.
So if they would want to expand it,
To
it would be an
expand,
issue.
yes.
If they simply wanted to sell it to somebody and continue.
We don't get
operation,
involved with it. We don't get involved when it sells, when it changes hands. We don't know, we don't get involved, has nothing to do with us. It doesn't trigger anything for us.
So the status of legally non-conforming, that was, when it was created, was legal, right? And now it's not legal anymore. So they carry over, it's a status that protect them.
Can you tell me the difference between no trucks and, is it really trying, is the spirit of it no commercial trucks? What's wrong with trucks? 4 trucks out in the parking lot. It's brand new, the ceilings are getting hurt,
So it's no outdoor
Yeah.
storage of vehicles. So it should be no outdoor storage of vehicles. Instead of trucks, it's not necessarily just trucks, it's vehicles. We
You have
don't,
to leave town to get your truck fixed.
I know.
That's all they do.
if automotive repair. Okay. So,
So Julie, no outdoor storage at all, not,
we can just put no
So,
outdoor storage of vehicles
I agree, strike trucks.
and just put vehicles.
Any other thoughts or comments?
Well, do you want no outdoor storage? So no outdoor storage of vehicles is a very tricky thing. A car in a parking spot is being stored. So what's storage?
It's stored overnight.
overnight, no overnight storage.
Yeah, but a lot of times, like,
You leave your car to get repaired, it's stored overnight.
yeah, I'll drop my keys off that night before and
That's a normal.
So I think no
Yeah.
outdoor storage is the thing, not of vehicles. Gotta be careful there.
Is there consensus for Dave's proposal to require the regional hammock access in West Mitchell corridor.
Yes. Well, I think that was more, you guys had said, I think it was a staff kind of comment that,
We just didn't explicitly say access to Mitchell Hammock. I think it's
So,
yeah.
along those lines, considering what Don brought up, let's not make it legitimate, let's say, for Oviedo Car Care to expand, but not Automatic and Muffler. So can we do Gateway Core for properties fronting on Broadway? So that we're not buttonholing this poor guy. Because there's very few.
Do you want to do a special exception as opposed to permissible?
So that way he can expand.
That would be better.
sure.
Or just prohibited and, whenever he.
So I think the condition that you want it to be on Broadway only is important. Right?
But it's not only for those who are there, right? So if the use is permissible, it's for
Well,
any new use. So you're attracting new use, so technically, right? You're saying this use is welcome in this area by right.
so when you look at the character of that piece of road compared to Mitchell Hammock, it's nearly identical. And you've got across the street where you have the C2 district, you've got automotive type stuff there on like Roy Jones property. So it's already there.
So if you're all fine with it, permissible.
I think it should be set special exception.
I just don't want to make this poor guy not able to, I don't know that he has room to expand, but it seems like we're picking on one business, frankly.
And I get it, what's it's a 4-lane state highway, state road versus our, when we say Mitchell Hammock, I kind of have the reverse theory of, well, yes, there happen to be these on Mitchell Hammock. Is that what we desire long-term? Is that really, I look at it the exact opposite of what you're talking, is going, well, I really don't desire that to be on Mitchell Hammock. It's there, I'm not gonna tell people get rid of it. But if new uses came in and bought properties along Mitchell Hammock and developed them nicer, I'd be more than happy to see that switch. So it's kind of funny that we're saying, this is okay on Mitchell Hammock, but not on the 4-lane state highway. I think it should be at least a special exception on 426, on that road, yeah.
Okay.
And you're saying.
Fronting, yeah.
Not in
No,
the
fronting,
area,
yeah.
the rest of the
Right.
area next to it.
Yeah.
Multifamily,
Well, access to, so you don't,
the same thing, access to, yeah. Special
I'm fine with
exception.
that, but was that?
So West Mitchell, Mitchell Hammock, do you want to do a special exception or just, no, just?
I'm not, it doesn't seem anybody's for that, I just,
Okay.
as the discussion's going, it's very interesting to me that
well, if
Mitchell
there's a
Hammock
city,
is, yes, it's like that already. It happens to be, yes, we have a couple of small on one side, there's new ones by, one by the golf and stuff like that, but on the other side, there's stuff that fits this. Is that long-term what we want? I don't believe so.
And that's a good conversation, that is a very good conversation, and that's what we have to
Yeah.
think about. Is
That's why I think Mitchell Hammock should aim higher, so to speak.
so make it special exceptions in both spots.
Right.
And as
Yeah, I
a
think
special
a special
exception
exception
condition, you could look at access,
Yeah.
right?
In looking at the map where those auto places are, I don't think they're in the Mitchell Hammock corridor. Are they?
Yes, like there's a lot.
They are,
of-
they're
there's
over on the.
Tire stores, there's Big Ten, there's
But isn't
Griffin
that-
Brothers.
Aren't they where the street comes in? Or am I off?
Yeah.
Aren't they what?
Are they actually in the purple or are they in this?
The Griffin Brothers is.
In the purple?
Yeah.
Okay. I think, honestly, I mean, you have to make the same rules, I feel like, based upon your conversation. So I think special
Well,
exception and.
actually, Oviedo Car Care is a C2, that ended up being not Mitchell Hammock corridor.
I would say
So
if,
special exception in the West Mitchell Hammock, yes?
Yes.
yeah.
And Gateway,
Yeah.
if we're gonna go that way.
Okay, or both.
That way the people have a chance.
And it's,
I
and
mean,
with the.
we've gotten nicer, because like I said, there used to be that tire store, that little tire store that, you know, used to be there, it became now, with Irish 21 and things like that. And the Harley Davidson store.
It started out as a Dunkin'
The Harley Davidson, yes, and Dunkin' Donuts, and
But with the caveat that they have to be accessible to the front.
But that's part of the special exception is compatibility. I think they can cover that already.
So that same,
But it's in the criteria already, is what I'm saying.
any other conversation on auto?
And then the other.
All right.
Special exception of the, okay, needs to have access to, not front.
We use the word for.
Is it front or have access?
Access. Both of them are access.
Direct access.
Direct access.
Yeah.
Access can be, you know, make 27
Direct
turns.
drive.
Just walk over there, that's it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so the next one, we deleted repair shops and outdoor storage. Now we go to restaurants, no drive-through. And this one, no drive-through is permissible in the new target areas. So downtown, mixed use district, Central Avenue, downtown mixed use district, Gateway, Marketplace, West Michigan corridor.
Any comments on that one? Next.
The next one is drive-through restaurants. It's a special exception use in, is that C1 or OC? In C1 and special exception use order in Gateway West. It was, the consultant was recommending a special exception in Marketplace, and also special exception in West Mitchell-Hammond corridor. We struck through Gateway West, Marketplace, and West Mitchell-Hammond corridor. And made it permissible in West Mitchell-Hammond corridor. We do already have drive-throughs in that district, West Mitchell-Hammond.
You have them in, well, let me see.
Special everywhere, special, wherever it's permitted, special, no permissible.
The Sonic is
Special
in Gateway West.
Which sounds like.
The Sonic is in Gateway West.
Sonic is in Gateway West. So Gateway West, we have as a special exception, no, we prohibited it.
Permitted.
Okay, so do we want to have, in Gateway West,
You like them?
Special exception at least.
a special exception?
I mean,
In Gateway
again, it
West?
goes back to that's a corridor. You know,
It's way out, so yes, I could, you know, it makes, if there's a direction, it should be that there's gonna be a coffee, somebody picking up stuff, that's the side it should be on, the drive-through. But I think none of them should be permitted, they should all be special, like, if it's gonna be permitted, or if we want it there, special exception, all of them, none of them permitted. So I would take the two that are fees and make them special exceptions. Everybody on the job. I think they should be looked
Well,
at,
I think-
they should be looked at and addressed harshly, because we look back at almost every one of them and find the mistakes that we allowed and say, if only we, so I think they should be looked at with a very harsh eye, and if we permit them, no offense, it's gonna be a less harsh eye than if we make it a special exception, it'll be a harsh, very harsh eye on the county.
So you're saying in Mitchell-Hammond corridor, make it special exception?
Yep, the two Ps that are up there, make it special
agree.
exceptions.
that would make all those there now.
They're legit, and if
They're
they want to
legit.
expand, they get a special exception.
If they go 180 days closed down, we'll have to again make a special exception. And widen it, make it better, that's my opinion.
The coffee place on Mitchell-Hammond is a disaster to traffic counts. It's horrible. No. What's it called? The one with the spot zoning. Starbucks.
It is.
Starbucks is a disaster.
Did you say Starbucks is a disaster?
You drive
The
through it,
traffic.
that's it.
So everyone drives through in the morning. it creates a big mess, and the guy comes to empty the dumpster, which is in the drive-through lane at the exact same time. It's the
I've
most
been
hilarious
stopped
thing.
at
And deliver.
at the intersection because, and I'm not even going to Starbucks, I'm stopped at the intersection and I can't get through. Because of the, yes.
I'm having fun because the staff blames me for driving.
I know, I was going to say, how dare you? Lorraine, just going to say, this is a very fine line. I'm trying to control myself
Doing
here.
the right thing.
I'm trying to control him, trying to use
Learning from his
email.
mistakes, that's all.
So,
Today,
I approve them too, I'm not gonna.
So drive-throughs are now allowable in C2 and West Mitchell Hammock, and then special exception in the other areas.
And we're saying make the
Make
special
the special
exception, West
exception.
Mitchell Hamlet, that's it.
Listen,
And
he's the guy that knows what I'm the guy that approved it, we're all saying, make it special exceptions. Make it
Well, I'm
harder.
it's right here in Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's already coming.
Is there a consensus to make it a special exception use order in West Central Hammock corridor where there are already existing, drive-through restaurants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, we're a little
Make
longer,
them
that's
fight
all.
harder to, have a really good design. But it's still strike through under special exception in Gateway.
And, Marketplace.
So
So
we want
leave it
special
as a special exception use order in those districts?
I think so.
Yeah,
I would think.
Gateway.
yeah, I can see Gateway Avenue.
Marketplace?
You guys think
Yeah.
Marketplace?
Well, that's
Yeah.
on the mall property.
On mall property, yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
C2?
I'd leave it allowed somewhere.
Yeah,
No.
C2 is.
C2 is where it
you have
belongs.
Burger King, you have, Wendy's, you have, all those different ones that are already existing, been here for years.
What do you guys think? Keep it, keep it.
If you're all happy with all those drive-throughs,
Are you
the way
ready?
they work, then I think they're all.
Okay, so, next we have funeral home, and we allowed it, the only change on this one, we allowed it in mixed-use district, Central Avenue. And then assisted living.
So, why? That could be a pretty traffic intense use.
So the consultant allowed it there, we can, of course, make it special
So
exception
is,
or not.
just out of
allow it.
curiosity, go back, was retail allowed in CA?
Retail is,
Yes, it's allowed personal service, daycare, all of that.
this is all part of the retail broader category.
So just, and we limited CA to what depth, do you remember?
I can't remember how far back, I don't know. if it's-
So I guess the sites are small enough it'd be harder to put them there.
We don't have to allow it, it's, we're creating what's allowed in the zoning district now, so.
But it makes sense, right? For so long enough too.
But the CA district is gonna be a constrained arterial if we, based on what we're looking at. Just two, related. Does anyone else have an opinion? I think funeral homes can be an intense use.
We have, the crematory that's on Central Avenue today, and then we also have one that's on Mitchell Hammock here by Kingsbridge. So we do have two, funeral homes in the city. I don't know if any of you all have noticed any traffic or issues related to it.
I haven't through Baldwin Fairchild.
You have or haven't, sorry?
I'm not, no. The other one, I don't know.
Well,
The other one's not, frankly.
Yeah, I
they can fit, they can fit, wherever.
there's already so much traffic there anyway.
So
I
no
take it back.
consensus? Okay,
I withdraw my concerns.
thank you, Dave. Okay, so the next one is an assisted living facility. It's permissible now in, the targeted areas. It was only permissible in 2 of the targeted areas, which is mixed use district, Central Avenue, downtown mixed use district. But we're proposing to allow it in downtown neighborhood and Gateway West, Core, Mitchell, Marketplace, and West Mitchell Hammond corridor. So we have an assisted living facility on Oviedo Boulevard. That is assisted living, right?
Yeah.
The memory.
Memory
That was only allowed at that point because it was sub-district B. I think.
So you see that's the type of.
It wasn't allowed at that point in the core.
Okay.
I think in the current code, but I disagree with, I think this is good.
Okay.
Why should we tell people because they need help, they can't live somewhere?
Especially walkable. You're not walkable area.
Yeah. Okay, so there's consensus to.
A walkable area.
Okay, so the next one is the community commercial community residential home. This one was a special exception in downtown neighborhood. We deleted it from there, and it was permissible in downtown mixed use district.
Does that mean more than 14? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, how is that very different from multifamily or assisted living?
So this is in the same, so community, if you want to go to the definition. So community, I'll read it to you as soon as it gets there.
You're going the wrong way.
That's the title, that, you were right.
We have those
I don't
definitions.
think we have one specifically for this one.
So this one, why do you remember this one, 7 to 14? This is
So it's
the
basically
same
that
one.
14.
But one is a commercial. Yeah, one probably functions as a
You
commercial.
probably need a definition.
Yeah, we'll have to put that in the notes. Because one is in the residential, the other one is a commercial. Okay, so service stations and specialty shops, specialty shops is combined with retail. Service stations, we deleted service stations because it's like a, gas station, but with, being able to fix the car, at the same time, so we deleted it. We already have a category for it. Specialty shops was only, defined in the downtown, and it was less than a square footage, I think it was less than 2,000 square feet, so we just combined it with retail. Alcoholic beverage package store, you will see that we've added in the target areas, there's a special exception in downtown neighborhood. It's permissible in all the other districts.
So why did you take retail out of OC?
The alcoholic beverage?
No, retail. No, it's not. 3 to 10,000 is not allowed. Why?
So under 3,000, it is allowed. Specialty retail was that use that was allowed in, along Central. It was less than 2,000.
I understand, but OC always allowed retail before, and now you're limiting the size.
Office commercial today does not allow for a lot of commercial activity, in OC, not today. It does allow for some, but it's a small.
So my recollection is that the west side of Stonehill Plaza is OC.
What part of the
The
parking?
west side,
It's the parking.
where it's
lot.
parking now,
Yeah.
yeah. But I don't think when we did that, there was any distinction about size.
No, there wasn't.
And I don't know how much OC there is out there.
So office commercial is also in our office future land use. So the primary use should be office and not commercial.
So I'm just asking, where is there that zoning?
Oh, where's OC? We can go to the zoning map. Let me look in existing. I'm looking.
It's the same, it looks like almost the same color as downtown neighborhood, so it's gonna be hard to figure it out.
So this one, this is the current map, does not have the downtown neighborhood yet. It's your OC. It's gonna be this, this pinkish, not, RP is the darker or magenta, so OC is this lighter pink.
And that's become downtown neighborhood now, right?
Yeah.
So Ace Hardware is gonna be what?
Ace Hardware is on downtown, so that is.
Okay, because it's OC today, right?
Uh-huh.
Which is allowing I don't know what size the Ace Hardware is. I don't remember. I mean, is it bigger than 10,000?
Okay, give us a second. Did you want to bring the zoning map back, the large section?
You don't have to get hung up on this now. If it's not that many places. It's just a weird zoning that most other places don't have.
It's really just weird.
You also have some OC over by, the plants, that concrete plant, should be some OC over there.
Yeah, it's not all that, I think.
Yeah, we don't have very many OC properties.
Don't get hung up on it.
I think there might be less than 10, there's whatever.
But you're right, before, so OC in the code,
Define what kind of, commercial use.
It was fuzzy.
yeah, so, but it did not define square footage.
Right.
So now because we have this breakdown, we see this should be for smaller, not for big footprints. Because necessarily they would have a larger impact. So that was the rationale to,
I was just asking.
okay. If we could go back to the community residential home definition, because our definition is correct. So community residential home is how the state defines and has two categories. A residential, community residential home.
So it's just
and
not
a commercial.
defined in the code.
It is defined. No, it is defined because, and I remember that it was defined. If you can go back, it says a dwelling unit license. So first of all, to differ from multifamily, some multifamily, it's a unit that provides the service. And if it provides up to 6, it's considered residential. It should be deemed a single-family home, should be allowed where single-family homes are allowed. And if it's between 7 and 14, so not more than 14, between 7 and 14, then it's by contrast should be commercial. So it's called commercial community residential home. So it's the same definition. In the same definition, they define the two categories. And then one was put in the commercial area, the other one in more residential areas. It's also not assisted living facility because it's not, commercial. It's not a residential home.
So can you go back to the chart?
So this is OC. So you have OC here. You also have OC over.
So can you go back to the table for that?
Uh-huh.
Because I have a suggestion.
OC you'll find next to neighborhood.
So my suggestion, you're concerned about impact. So my suggestion would be in OC, to maintain some consistency with what you have now is special exception for 3 to 10,000, if everyone agrees to that. In OC. That's up to the crowd.
I think we'll have, so if someone wanted to come, especially at the property that I was just pointing to that's near Seminole County and Blue Boundary.
Right.
If someone wanted to come with a large retail, I think we're gonna have issues with the rural, area. But, OC is really intended for office use, not for,
Do we have straight office zoning?
We do have, well, straight office, residential, professional, and OC are the only offices.
So that's the strangeness, is we don't have a office professional office zone. All right,
Commercial, yeah.
I'm just thinking about existing things that were built in OC that are kind of retail and larger than that, but I'll let it go.
Okay, so the next one is retail 3,000 up to 10,000 square feet. They are allowing this in, downtown mixed use, Gateway District, Marketplace, and West Michigan corridor.
So, I don't know if it's here, but is there somewhere that prohibits above a certain size of certain uses in these core areas? There probably should
We
be.
have a prohibition for
There probably
75,000.
should be.
We used to have it in our architectural design standards, but when they removed everything and placed the consultants placed it different places, they did not place that back in the code. So that is one of our recommendations, is for them to add that language back.
So if you're gonna have a chart of sizes, maybe you want like an upper limit in the core areas. Because, you know, a huge retail use is almost invariably suburban in nature and parking intense and negative. Not always, but most of the time.
So
I don't know
that
what the
would be-
magic size is, but you probably want to kind of hold the line at 25,000 or something.
In which,
In the core areas, you know.
okay.
I agree.
So for example, and it's self-imposed on what I'm doing, but calls come in on the Evans property for grocery stores. A grocery store would be disastrous, a full-size grocery for that area. It would be disastrous. It's not what you're trying to do. They're usually single-story with surface parking and huge.
So we can put that in there. This is for anything above 10,000 square feet.
So I think what I'm saying is you're allowing it up anything over 10,000. I think you have to have an upper limit.
So we can put that in
And-
there.
Not in the table, I think
We'll
it's a
put a comment.
standard, yeah,
We'll have to put a comment in there.
or a standard in the code that we do not allow.
Well, all I'm saying is if you're gonna list sizes for people reading, you're listing sizes in a table, you should have the other sizes in the table.
So 10,000 to 25,000, above 25,000.
So you can do it, and I've kind of collected some examples of the right way to do it in a mixed use area. But what I would suggest is you're over 20 or 25,000, you have to start calling it a special exception. Because it could destroy the character of that area you're trying to create. It's too big.
Is there consensus?
Yeah. I don't know the magic number is
So we
25,000.
can tell them to establish a maximum square footage, for the, 4 areas.
Of
So
a
that it-
single, you have to be careful, of a single use, it's not of a
Of
building.
a single.
So is 10,000 square feet in the
It's not.
MUD downtown mixed use, is that too high?
No, what I'm saying is there's no upper limit, it says no
No, yeah, I
upper.
know, but for where they have it as permitted.
No,
do you
no,
that's appropriate?
I think the magic, so think about it, a small specialty grocer might be 5 to 10,000, but the smallest of like the larger grocery stores are probably 30,000. So I think 25 is a good, any single use larger than that requiring a special exception, to me makes sense. In those areas.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so what about retail above 10,000, is that, did you put the note on, okay? And then convenience store type 1, that is without gas.
So
sales.
are we agreeing to add, so the 10,000 will become 10 to 25, and then we'd be adding a line item that's over 25 and making a special exception.
Okay, so go ahead and put 10,000 to 25.
With a consultant review, part of that.
No, that's here,
Where it says above 10, change it from,
okay, delete
from,
above,
from 10 to 25.
delete above, and then correct.
But we were talking about now adding a 25,000.
Has to be above 10
Plus.
to 25, right? Not to have the same.
So, that is a-
Retail sales.
Above 10 to 25,
Yeah,
right?
above 10.
You're right. 10,000 and a half. Teresa always rounds up.
And then above 25,000, not allowed in the gateway. in the-
Well, no, special
Special
exception
exception.
in those,
Everything that's above, right?
well, I can't see what the categories are right now.
If it would destroy the character of the target areas.
If it's done by special exception the right way, there's ways to do this. So they have a test for special exceptions compatibility. So someone will have to come in and prove how it's compatible.
So is there consensus to do that, to do a special exception for, anything above, 25,000 square
Yes.
feet in those? Is there consensus?
Yes.
So I think you missed one. It needs to be, so why is it not permitted in downtown mixed use district, first of all, under 10 to 25? It should be. It should be a P where your cursor is,
I hear you. What is that?
Okay.
So we got.
and a special exception above 25.
Right, so there's a new line down here for above 25,000. What I was waiting for is where, are we gonna put permissible then? In any of these, it's just.
Well, so in the C1 and C2, it should absolutely be allowed. In the other, I'm concerned about the core districts, so I'm saying special exception in DMUD. No, permitted there you go, special exception there. And the other categories where it should match what was above it.
So the
Except
special
I would
exception-
take it out of OC, just in,
Don't put it.
no, I would,
C1, nothing
C1.
prohibited or special exception?
no, I would allow it in C1 and not in C2, right?
I would, no, I would the opposite, I would allow it in C2, no, it's not in mine.
Okay.
And we have to underline.
I don't know, I'm doing it's just color changing the color.
Do you really want retail 10,000 to 2,500, 25,000 in your downtown mixed use?
If you want it to be walkable.
You want to.
I'm just asking.
I'm not married to that size, but you have to somehow qualify that somewhere with a footnote that this is for a single use. Someone shouldn't come in and they're doing multiple uses in a building and be told they have over square footage when you're trying to mix the uses.
How big is the Aldi's?
I don't know off the top of my head. And that's sad, because I did that.
We can look and see.
So
the
can we
problem
say?
is not so much the size, is the suburban, if it brings the suburban character, right? So if it brings with structured parking, if it brings with,
So what I would say, if everyone's comfortable, is let the consultant weigh in and we can talk about the square footages again. I'm just trying to get the basic premise of don't get too large without a special exception in the core areas.
Yeah, and that's why I was thinking that maybe the downtown is a special exception at the 10, but it would have to be.
I think that's a mistake. Yeah.
A single use, you have to, we can specify that this is for single use.
Yeah, I would just,
So,
like Asbury Hall goes, that's a
Okay.
single use.
I think that's the important.
Aldi is 18,560 the building. What is this on the property?
so that would be allowed.
I'm not married to square footage, but I don't have the knowledge base to tell you what it should be. So let our consultant say what they think.
Well, the other thing is that this is the use, right? We also can regulate the character, right? We can regulate the,
And it could be multi-story too.
Well, that's what I'm saying is they're trying to create a district with certain characteristics. And above a certain size, if you don't apply special exception type criteria to it, it's gonna be a problem.
and we can also put in here that if it's that size, it has to be a certain height. It has to be a minimum of 2 floors or 2 stories or however, I mean, we can do that in this land development code.
The Aldi is about 18,500 square feet, so it would fall into the 10 to 25,000.
So maybe that's too big. Can we let the consultant weigh in?
So I like that.
But to your point, there's a Publix downtown Atlanta, right? So.
Where?
Yeah, it's
At
right
Ford
on
Park.
Central.
Male.
Like Yale.
There's one out there, like, you'll have more central.
but it's suburban.
No, there's one right now. There.
So
The park is
let's,
underneath.
can you and
That's
the
on the
consultant do a little homework and
No,
look at
it's
some?
not.
That one is.
There's one like Yale.
Can you guys look at some urban, like groceries, which will probably be the category we're talking
Oh,
about?
there are plenty, but then they will be embedded in the building, right? So we have,
So in the absence of that, I think you run into the risk of ending up with a big field of surface parking in a grocery store, even if
And
they
maybe
come
we
to
should say
them.
they have to have structured pricing. It's that big of an
I don't know. You can do that with your special exception. So, like I said, I'm not married to the size, but I don't know what it should be.
Okay. All right, so is there a consensus on this that we're gonna
Yep.
talk with the consultant about? So we'll have further conversation about that one. Okay. Convenience store type 1, that is without gas sales. So this is, and we have conversations about what is a convenience store today, without gas sales. It's basically retail is what it is. I cannot even think of a convenience store without gas.
Yeah, so that was what I'm
So then do you need
How
a
about
convenience
ours?
store that's retail? Because you're putting sizes, so if it's retail,
Do you need convenience store type 1?
We have it, we have type 1 and type 2.
I don't think so.
You don't think we
Because
need?
it's retail.
It's
It's
retail.
the same impact as retail.
And then it's
If I
just
was 7-Eleven,
fuel stations with retail, is that?
well, that's the other one.
Right, I said, and the other one just becomes fuel stations with retail,
So,
rather than standalone fuel stations.
that can make a really big convenience store that is not limited to my size now. It is permissible and all those things that size limit.
Yeah.
So I would recommend just getting rid of it.
And that's what we put, is it
Above you, so
necessary?
gas station.
There you go.
We put, and as far as
What do you
staff,
This call is not giving the story.
as far as staff, we had the question, is this necessary or should we delete it because it's covered under retail? Yeah, so we have that in there.
Everybody good with it?
Okay, and then convenience store with fuel structure, is that stations? Oh, stations, I can't see it, sorry. That's a type 2. We deleted it out of OC and C1. We put it in as permissible in I2. And then we struck out permissible in Central Avenue. And struck it from Gateway West Gore, and we put it in West Central Hammond corridor.
With the same footnote regarding the automotive repair, about the access to engineering.
So are you getting rid of the specified corners and stuff?
It's still there. It's still, they didn't remove it. We're allowed at certain intersections. So,
It's time to get rid of the Bob Delarey code. How long did it take?
in a while, that's been here. Okay, so, is everyone okay with that?
What were you, I'm sorry, what were you saying about access and?
The same as we mentioned with the auto repair and the, I forget the other one, but where it's direct access, either 426 or Vigilante.
Because of that one gas station that's there.
Okay.
Theaters.
So theaters, no drive-in. We are allowing it in the target area. The consultant had it as a special exception in downtown mixed-use district, and we put it as permissible. Dry cleaners, laundromat, there's no change in that.
So why wouldn't you allow that in a core area? Someone lives in an apartment, they want to do their laundry, why not?
We can allow it.
So you're trying to create a walkable place with all economic strata. Not everybody, apartments these days, I think in your apartment complex, don't they do it? You have to rent their washer and dryer, right?
No,
No, you don't have to. In some places, they do that now.
you can bring your own washer and dryer.
And in some places, they kind of gig. So I think it makes sense to allow laundromats. Now, a dry cleaner, most of the time, they don't really process in the location anymore.
Well, that's the difference between this one and the next one. So the next one is with off-site service. So a dry cleaner, and I don't know if you're looking at.
But I think a
the
laundromat and a dry
hazardous
cleaner.
Materials, I'm not quite sure if that's what you're looking at.
But a laundromat has machines, so of course it's not off-site. So I think those two things should.
There's a dry cleaner, I used to frequent in Longwood. They didn't do the dry cleaning on the site, they should have.
Well, but what I'm saying is a dry cleaner and a laundromat are two different things.
Yeah.
And they're conflated together here.
So if we're gonna consider laundromat as being accessible and all the permissible in all those other areas, you would move laundromat to the dry cleaner with off-site.
That's a good idea. That would solve the concern.
Okay, so we will keep in there.
So the table
Just
stays
put
the
the
same, except
laundromat.
the laundromat goes
Yeah,
down
just
to
remove
the next.
So you guys are all okay with laundromat in all those areas?
Okay, the banquet drive-through facilities.
No. No, the laundromat is a separate thing. than the
Yeah.
dry
A whole
Oh,
separate use.
Yeah.
The lowering.
Put it back to
After service.
Yeah, that's all.
I knew you were here.
There are also a lot of cities who will not allow dry cleaning plants because of the impact environment. A lot of cities have no dry cleaner with their own plant. It has to be on the drop off. Because of all those. I thought that in places.
Yeah.
So
they always do.
If that's the case, then maybe you want to do that.
Put a question mark.
I think you should consider that.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to plant.
Dry cleaners just have a question for further.
So it's not allowed in any of the targeted areas, no change to where dry-cleaners are allowed.
But if it's a plant, maybe you only want such things in industrial areas, if at all.
Does the one by Salt Lake do their own outside position? I'm sorry, over.
I don't know.
That's
We
a
don't
little
know.
bit.
This next one is gonna be bank with drive-through facilities. There's no change in that one. And then we have microbreweries.
I'm sorry, before you go beyond that, what's the problem with putting the bank with a drive-through facility in the core area? Because I see all kinds of those things in urban areas where the drive-through is actually underneath part of the building. And you come in from the side road or you do whatever. Why wouldn't you want that banking to be available to people there?
And make it a special exception.
I'm okay with that, but I wouldn't want to ban it altogether.
Okay, special question? I think do that, right?
And downtown,
Because downtown areas are not supposed to be drive-through, right, in general.
Well, I think what he's saying is there's ways to do it.
so we would have to somehow.
It's more of an area that you park and then you walk around, right? So that's the,
You can put it in the back of the building.
Yeah, exactly.
I know Stanford has one, not too far away from the office in Stanford. It's in the back.
I think Waco Park has one in the garage.
Is parking garage,
In the parking garage.
Because if it was drive-through, then you might not necessarily need as much parking, because they're not, if they are driving there, they don't have to park, get out and walk. Because we went to one night,
But we want-
like
we
you
want
said,
them
it
to
was
park and
it
walk.
was like over, and they had like 2 parking spaces.
That's what we want them to park and
I think
walk.
we have to add some additional criteria to the drive-through. So that it's not visible, it's not.
Well, can you do that in your compatibility test on the special exception? Or do you?
Yeah, so we can create some, I would rather create standards for drive-throughs, for the bank, if we're gonna allow it in the downtown. We don't want, we're trying not to allow drive-throughs.
It's your baby, Don, what do you say? Let the staff come up with some criteria so it's allowed, with special exception.
I think so.
Okay.
Which
Special
specifically do
exception for
you?
downtown mixed use. And then add criteria for the drive-through. Okay. Microbrewery, microdistillery. So it's permissible in the targeted areas now.
So it's a very, sometimes small use, so if you allow small retail in OC, why wouldn't you allow that?
Restaurant, oh, I'm sorry, microbrewery.
Yeah, because OC, you allowed up to a certain size of things.
It's actually a special exception in C1.
Well, maybe it's a special
No.
exception in OC also, is all I'm saying. See how you have retail under 3,000? And what about, were restaurants allowed in OC or not?
So OC is neighborhood commercial.
But it allowed restaurants, so why wouldn't you allow microbreweries
Does it
also?
allow restaurants
Yes.
as a permissible use?
Yes.
No drive-throughs.
Well, I've never seen a craft beer place with a drive-through, but,
Could be.
I've seen drive-through bars. That's a good-
Almost,
Yeah.
almost.
Barns. Beverage barns.
I agree, wherever you have a restaurant, you should be able to have that.
I mean, I'm getting personal, actually speaking.
It's very little. Well, we did the bar, and I wanted to have that same character.
Well, you have to be able to knock on the door and have to pass through, right? For the bar.
Is that consensus on microbrewery and OC?
Madam Chair.
Is it a special exception use for it?
I think it's allowed, the restaurants
So
are.
then it would have to be allowed in C1 as well.
Everybody
It's a
gets
special
Yes.
exception. C1, you can't have it permissible in OC and a special.
I think it should be
C1.
permitted in both, personally.
There's consensus to make it permitted wherever
Yes.
there's a restaurant. Without drive.
They gotta get licenses. Say more licenses than a restaurant, so.
Okay, so artesian food production.
Artisan.
Oh, I'm sorry, artisan, yes.
Are you feeling
Okay, so that's the definition, establishments that can manufacture artisan food on a small scale such as, but not limited to breads, cheeses, charcuterie, okay, can I even say that right? Charcuterie, pasta, sweets, not to exceed 75% of the business square footage. These establishments shall include a tasting room and retail space to sell the local production for consumption on the premises and off premises, along with retail items and food. That is special exception RP, permissible in OC.
So that seems weird, that it be allowed in RP, which is residential in character with offices,
It's a special exception.
but why?
Yeah, bakery, pasta plates, cheese plates.
But RP is supposed to be limited next to houses, I mean, I'm just curious.
It doesn't have to be allowed there, so.
I don't know what everyone else thinks, it just seems a little,
Can it go there? Yeah, special exception, fine.
all right.
I don't see it. Can it?
Okay,
This is something.
so then you have retail sales with outdoor storage, this is like you have Home Depot, Lowe's, they have outdoor storage, places like that. So this is retail sales for outdoor storage, it's allowed in C2, I1, I2, and then it's not allowed in the target areas. So is everybody with that? Okay, equipment rental, some outdoor storage is allowed in C2, I1, and I2.
Good.
Okay, so the next one.
I have a question. I know, we didn't really give it much, excitement, but like the bike rentals, if someone did that, would that be under equipment rental?
It's your heavy equipment rental.
Okay.
Bike rentals or bike sales, that's under retail.
Under retail, okay.
And then you have your personal storage, which is your mini warehouse. So, we only added it as a special exception, Gateway West, Marketplace, and West Central Campus Corridor.
So, personally, why is it a special exception? I know this happened a couple years ago. If you have criteria for it, why would it be a special exception?
So with this one, the personal storage, what's the comment on the side? What we're looking for the target areas is that, if it's located in the target areas.
So
we
I'm
want
not
retail
talking about the
or
target
mixed use
areas.
On the
first
I'm
floor.
talking about OC, C1, C2.
Because the character of the, although the impact is low,
So
the character is very industrial. Even if we, and we try to sell, and if you follow the discussion that we had here, that we had a full house in the LP, and we were, grilled for hours, it was very.
So I will tell you, I'm very sensitive to this. If you watch the news, and Harris read me the Tuscarora News newsletter, making things a special exception sometimes creates unrealistic demands of neighboring folks. I think it's better to just have criteria. If you've got architectural standards and they have to look a certain way, it's the most innocuous use. It generates a lot of tax revenue and very little impact.
And I agree, but the community disagreed with us, right? And so it's just a consideration. I would dispute in the target areas because it does not bring vibrancy.
So here's the thing.
So it's the kind, so in the marketplace, for instance, would not bring the vibrancy that we need. So
I'm not talking about that. I'm
And
talking
so-
about C1, C2. So in C2, you could put a Walmart, which is this huge structure. So I just don't understand why C2 wouldn't allow personal storage.
I think I agree. I think C2 should, I think we could allow, although we think where we have C2, right?
I mean, that's main drag type property.
Yeah.
Actually, we have
On the red area.
It's not like you're on the main turnpike, like 419 and 426 and 434 and that we have right now.
So commercial is gonna be the red area, the C2. You have C2 here. You also have C2 at the north. What is that for? Just up by, yeah, there is a piece up here, it's a small piece of property.
What's that like green? I forget.
And then you see the red area is at C2.
Yeah, because that is all.
Yeah, there's a piece that's right here.
Yeah, I'm fine with C2, maybe new special
That's
exception.
old zoning.
Yeah, I'm not
Before
for it.
the landfill was sold.
That's the thing where they wanted to put one.
What's that?
What was the one, the abandoned 434? What was that zone for?
It was OC.
Yeah,
It's right
it belongs there. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
But
very
that's
low
gonna be a
impact.
retention pond for some traffic circles,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter.
Well, I'm just saying, but it's still, that, yeah, it's OC.
So it just seems weird to take a low impact use and make it prove compatibility when what people don't like is the size of the building. But the things I heard in that meeting, we're gonna rent out the units to drug dealers and prostitutes, we're gonna run over school children, I mean, it was just unbelievable. So you make something a special exception, you create this fury, and I didn't need a special exception.
Couple months ago, one spring.
I don't see it being appropriate in the office area.
Well, I'm saying C2.
Right, so what I'm saying is remove it, have even special exception in the office area, make it permissible
In C2.
to,
Special exception if you want.
fine. And I don't know how I feel about the target areas.
The target area is my issue with the vibrancy. If we want to bring vibrancy, this is not a use.
I'm fine with it being wiped out of the target areas, frankly.
What do you guys think?
Well,
Now, the only thing that we added in, the special exception for the East District is that the first floor has to be, office or retail not associated with the storage.
where does it say that?
That we put it in the note over here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
So
those
it's
three
got that.
categories,
Okay.
special exception, and the actual mixed use.
Right.
Okay, so what do you guys think?
Yeah, it was sense.
With the changes they made of.
Right.
Right.
No,
It was
it's right.
either, for us as staff, it was either not allow it in targeted areas or create that vibrancy that we want to see.
Everybody happy with what's on the screen?
I agree with it.
Okay. Veterinarian, no kennel. So this one, we changed it from special exception use order in OC and put it as permissible, and then now it's permissible in, downtown neighborhood, in downtown mixed-use district, in West Central Hammock, corridor.
So just a thought, I don't think an animal doctor should be treated different than a people doctor personally. So I see this as, why in God's name would you not allow it in Gateway Core and Marketplace?
Our note for this one is please create a definition for this use and create a footnote that prohibits boarding but allows for emergency overnight stay.
But what I'm saying is, why would you not allow this service in
The veterinarian
in
and the
these
downtown
areas?
targeted.
So to me, it should be no different, that without a kennel with your qualification, it should be no different than a medical office.
Well, the difference is the parking overnight, right? So if we allow overnight, usually people don't park. Humans don't park.
So you
Usually.
know.
That's usually, but that's the noise, so it's a consideration.
And there's the Tourette's clinic.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The dogs don't curse.
Okay, so what is the board's consensus with this one?
So why is it, to that point, sorry.
You're allowing it in the downtown core, but not in the gateway and Marketplace. I think it should be allowed there.
Yeah.
It might be allowed there, but not the downtown then.
Why?
The parking.
What, so people have pets and they want to walk through the
I'm
pet.
fine, that's fine. I'm fine with it. What about the central? I'm fine with it and all of it. But, and also ag, is there a reason why we didn't include it in ag?
No, we cannot put it in ag.
There's specs for big animals.
There's no big animals
But
left
you
there.
never, we have a really big.
Yeah, we have to see the whole plan if it allows, you know.
Right, yeah, you can build an office. or
With office, maybe we have to check if it's compatible with the comprehensive plan.
With the rural future.
Yeah.
But presuming it is, we're saying add it
Yeah, so just keep it as.
so put it in those other two spots.
Okay. And then in the other spots?
Wait, yeah.
Here?
Yep. There was a cat here.
Watch somebody bring a big horse to downtown.
So we'll have to ask the police, they may take care of it somewhere.
Okay, so then, veterinarian with kennel was removed because we are allowed overnight stays, but then there's a kennel here. Can you just move it?
We're gonna lose our header up here.
Okay, so kennel, and this is the use of the kennel. There's companies that have, that's what they do. They board dogs over, they have the day sitting over sitting, that type of thing.
Dog spots.
Right now, we don't allow it in shopping centers, because of the noise. And plus, they like to have gated areas so the dogs can go out and, get some physical activity. So right now, we only allow it in, the only change, agriculture is the only change where we're allowing it from the special section use order, we're allowing it as permissible use.
Sounds good.
Pretty good. Okay, pet care services, we're allowing it in the targeted areas now.
Net groomers.
Yes. Okay, and then we have motel hotels. That we're allowing in the target areas of downtown mixed-use district, Gateway Core, Marketplace, and West Central Hamlet. We put that exactly as permissible use in West Central Hamlet. Shopping center we did away because we combined it, called retail based on the square footage. Wholesale sales, no outdoor storage or display. We have it was allowed as a special exception in these districts, downtown mixed-use Gateway, Marketplace, and West Central Hamlet, and we deleted it.
So can I, Madam Chair, interject on the whole category, please? Thank you. So we're gonna get to it, but very specifically, this kind of comes into that weird category you had where you were conflating space things with manufacturing. So very specifically in the comp plan, manufacturing is allowed in lots of districts, yet not here, and it makes no sense whatsoever. So everyone's gonna be concerned about noise, vibration, fumes, but there's already ordinances that cover all those things. So it might make sense to take manufacturing and break it into heavy and light or something.
That makes sense.
Okay? And I just want to be careful here because if you consider the example of Mr. Shank, 3D printers is manufacturing. Assembling small electronics is manufacturing. Building simulators, and we have this huge industry down there at UCF, is manufacturing. And I think those other categories cover it, but you can call heavy manufacturing is anything that has, according to those things, excessive noise, vibration, odor. If you don't have any of those things, who cares what's going on inside the building?
You would call it small-scale manufacturing. So
Light manufacturing is kind of a typical.
I think that complaint talks
Okay.
about it allows light manufacturing.
Well,
Light,
what I'm saying is
light
add
industrial in
a whole category to this where it's heavy manufacturing, light manufacturing. And
So
make
that's what I'm
sure
saying,
it's
it's not allowed.
permitted in all those districts where the comp plan says it's allowed. Because you don't want to make
The light,
people with high-tech industries get special exceptions or not be allowed. Thank you.
So we do have the light industrial here. Light industrial, which does include manufacturing.
But it doesn't, where does it say that?
So that's, we have to create the definition. The definition is in the comp plan. So we
Okay.
have to move that to the comp plan.
So you're gonna split that manufacturing into two, is that what you're saying? Light and,
I think it covers it in light industrial.
so you're saying take out manufacturing and use that as light industrial slash manufacturing? Or-
If you're gonna have light industrial, you should then have heavy industrial, right?
If we allow it.
So you have these I1 and I2 categories, and you're only allowing light and craft.
No, but we have all the other ones above, right? I think we have to rethink this section here to have one
Yeah, at
section,
least
not
one more,
yeah.
yeah.
But so we are allowing the
So maybe
manufacturing is the heavy one.
right, but maybe the title of the category should just
Yeah.
be manufacturing and storage.
It should be industrial use, right?
Industrial,
Use
not
is
what it
industrial.
is, and put it all in one thing.
So we,
Just call it
Manufacturing is a type of industrial, right?
Yeah.
we have a
Industrial
comment
could be-
here, please create a new industrial use category.
So you already kind of thought about this.
Yeah, gotcha. You guys are on, all right.
So in essence, what I said you're already doing, it was just off the page.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, to create.
all right.
I don't even get why nurseries and greenhouses are included in manufacturing.
It's wholesale.
Wholesale. Because it was wholesale.
That's why it's industrial.
It's
That's
the
why
trucks coming in.
Yeah,
it
that makes
should
sense,
be
you're right.
called that.
It should
Yeah,
be
that's
called
not-
that. You're right,
Something
exactly.
You guys are gonna take care of this probably add another category to an industrial, have an
So,
industrial, instead of a wholesale manufacturing, we do industrial.
And then put it all under that.
yeah, we can change the title.
Yeah, that's what you have, you just said you already have that to do that, so.
They're just gonna make an LEC, CC consent.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and so that was our comment as well. Okay. So, do y'all wanna go through nursery greenhouses and, so it's not allowed and, there's no change to this nursery greenhouse with retail sales. It was permissible in mixed use district, Central Avenue and downtown mixed use. Staff is recommending deletion of it. Industrial park, no change. Manufacturing, no outdoor storage or display. It was gonna be permissible. In mixed use district, Central Avenue, we're recommending that it's not put there. Light industrial is the use that Dave was talking
So I just
about.
think this is a little weird because manufacturing is light industrial. So it's just a little confusing.
And that's one of the ones you're gonna fix, right?
Yeah.
It's just gotta be.
Deborah, stop it just a second. What does that mean for, I can't remember the name of the business, but the granite guy down
Amazon Stone was retail and outdoor storage.
yeah, he does sell out of there, but he also manufactures in the sense that he cuts it and shapes it.
Not there, right?
It's down,
Yeah.
it's down back of my house. I think where he actually does all of that is
Yeah,
down.
he doesn't do
It's down below.
that, he just displays the stones there, he chooses and he cuts from a different,
It's down below.
size,
Okay.
yeah.
Industrial.
So that could be considered craft industrial. So I think maybe it makes
No,
sense
that's not
here.
industrial.
Right, but maybe it makes sense here to refer to those other ordinances. Heavy is something that, exceeds those things or something.
What about the fence place? What is that? You just sell.
Fence,
fence.
They don't manufacture.
It's for sale, right?
Sale.
Okay, and then craft industrial. Special exception, this is a new use. No sign use, it's an existing use.
So how is that different than light industrial?
So craft industrial will have to go to the definition. Let's see the definition, right? So this is the definition of light industrial. Manufacturing, repairing, knife.
But craft was crossed out. Maybe it's a spurious category, is all I'm saying.
I don't remember why it was crossed out. So it may be the same thing.
It's the same thing,
Yeah.
along the same place,
Yeah,
right?
well, actually, we should remove
So
the
one of,
titles.
yeah, put a question mark there. We are allowing the same thing, right?
If it's the
No,
same
no,
thing, it's
no.
the same thing.
Yeah.
The only difference is.
We are allowed now. Constructors of equipment.
Well, they approve the special exception, and it's not,
So what's the funny little note where it's just smaller type in West Mitchell
Smaller
County?
type.
The table acts strangely, and there's no rhyme or reason, it just makes it smaller, but it's just a beat.
Just to mess with you.
We're gonna get to the weird part in
Okay. Research, development. Can you go down? I don't think I see that.
Yeah, this is where it's gonna go through.
Okay.
This is what we got.
Okay, manufacturing with outdoor storage and display, no change. Research, development, and testing, special exception in C1, C2, permissible in I1, I2.
So those things should absolutely be encouraged in core areas. So I don't, again, understand these distinctions.
So these are all categories created by the consultant, we can put a note for her.
Yeah, that's what they mean by those, because those.
Because those things are what you want, so why would you not
Use
allow it
technology,
where you,
electronics,
you know?
yes.
So you.
I think that's all I know. I don't see any reason to call it something different.
So the downtown, mixed usage?
No, what I'm saying is, I don't even understand why we even have categories.
Oh.
Same comment as the one before, under the aerospace, so.
Yeah, it falls to me, it's.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we're supposed to,
Okay, so let's highlight those two and see if we can combine them with.
Well, exactly, those easily be done in the office. Yeah, they probably, if they're gonna be testing stuff, they have another place that they're testing stuff.
I don't think he's in compliance, he's eliminating because they're already covered.
well,
I wanna make sure that
right,
they're
right.
covered. I'm
So
not sure.
unless the consultant has some weird thing, I'm just saying, I don't think we even need them all.
I know, but I don't know if it's covered in one of the definitions. Because we've never had categories for these uses. So they're very specific and it helps us when people are coming to us.
So you
And
might
add
want to
something
add it to the
to that.
definition of light
Yes.
industrial.
Exactly.
So industrial engineering.
No, that's a good point, that you do need to separate it out, you need engineering, industrial.
Yeah, engineering, or, as I said, 90% of that's gonna be engineering, and yes, they may have, you go down to, you know, go to simulation down, to all these simulation places down Research Park, and they're all gonna have research, development, and testing, and laser, and tight laser photonics, and all these places. They're office buildings, and that's what we want, high-paying jobs in office buildings.
So,
And they might have a place somewhere where they test stuff, but, where they might do small testing.
And you're not gonna have the same things like odor, noise, all that other
Oh,
stuff.
okay, I'm gonna give you a real example, and I think they kind of fixed it in the current code by allowing certain things in C2. Infotainment in a C2 zone on Geneva Drive, comes up with and sells automotive electronics. They test there, they manufacture there, they do all kinds of things there, all of which would have been prohibited under C2 until that changed. So I think we need to be very careful. So, back up at that chart, where light industrial and craft industrial, there's no reason whatsoever those things shouldn't be allowed in OC, C1, C2, in my view. If they're not intrusive to people, what difference does it make?
Well, that's the thing, we have to see if it's intrusive in OC. C1 I'm okay with, allowing them.
So if an office is there, or if a 3D printer is there, it shouldn't make any difference.
Yeah.
Which is why maybe a new category that lumps those together in a more
Yes, light
descriptive
industrial.
manner.
Yeah,
Like heavy,
we agree.
light.
So we'll take a look at those.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see the next one. Okay, elementary, middle, and high school. They are special exceptions in residential districts permissible in R3. We changed it from special exception in industrial I1 and I2. And we are allowing it as permissible uses in the target area. Trade and vocational schools, same thing with where we're allowing them as permissible use in the target area.
So what's the category where you have a special exception for elementary, middle, and high, but trade vocational doesn't have it?
These are all the residential.
No.
Here?
Keep going. Right
Oh,
there.
this is PLI, and this is agricultural.
Okay, gotcha.
Veterinary training school.
Okay, churches and synagogues, temples, etc. We changed it in the special exception. It's permissible now.
R3.
In R3, then now it's permissible in
Industrial.
I1 and I2. and then allowed in the targeted areas. Libraries, art museums, permissible now, and OC is opposed to special exception, and then permissible in the targeted area.
Or no, this is RP.
RP.
Yeah.
Social fraternal clubs, permissible now, it's new in I1 and I2. And then allowed as permissible use in the targeted areas. And then simulation modeling.
That's not an educational use.
What's that?
Simulation modeling and training is a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if they are an educational, they'll be in your trade schools and vocational schools.
Right, so that's an industrial use, not an educational use.
Unless it's an incubator, but then again, that's a.
Still.
That's, yes.
So we can either
Want it to be a
remove
business. No bigger.
it, delete it.
So I understand what they were trying to do is create categories for your target industries. I would say just list them in your definition like you talked about. So light industrial includes these things.
I would roll them in just like.
Laser technology plus
Sorry, I'm on here. Definition.
I would take the simulation and modeling and just roll it together and treat it the way we do with the R&D and electric technology.
Just list it as uses under light industrial, so
Define
that people know what they're allowed to do.
Now, I have a question, and I get a question, but if it's, say, a UCF or a Valencia space, is that gonna screw it up? That
No,
actually
that's a
doesn't have
school.
to be.
That's a school.
Right, well, I'm saying, like, out there on 430, no, because they would just rent a place, never mind. So,
The UCF incubator, you're talking about that,
So the next one is gonna be your indoor recreation, is that indoor recreation? Yes.
Indoor recreation.
So that is,
RP, which is C1.
can you repeat that?
This is RP, OC, C1.
So now it says permissible use in C1, I1, I2, the I1, I2 now that's permissible. And then, what's the next one?
This is PLI.
Okay, so we removed it from PLI, and then we added it as permissible uses in the target area. So that's like a
So-
bowling alley.
That's weird because you have recreation at parks and PLI in buildings. Why would you prohibit it?
So recreation, what do you mean? So like city recreation building?
Yeah.
So that's different. So we have another category called publicly owned recreation.
So here's a weird thing to me. We should regulate use, not ownership. The fact that it's privately owned or publicly owned should make no difference.
So we have this district called PLI.
Right.
So we want to allow the city's facilities in the PLI districts especially, and in other areas. We would not allow for privately owned recreational facilities in PLI.
Well, right, because it's
It's
a publicly owned category.
institution.
But what I'm saying is, who owns something shouldn't dictate where it's allowed to be other than that.
Yeah, so we wouldn't combine those uses. So we would still have a publicly owned recreation.
Basically, they have that, they're doing what you're saying, if you look at the bottom two. The only difference will be with PLI. The other uses, and well, I don't know, there's the other in the downtown core.
So what is the one where it's allowed? Is that A?
If you scroll down.
The publicly owned is, oh, that's PLI, okay. Can you go back up? All right, I get it, but now let me ask you a question. So why would you not allow outdoor recreation in a target area? Don't you want people to recreate?
For privately owned recreational facilities?
Well, it's like indoor only. Why? I'm just asking.
Because it consumes a lot of land, right? You should see what is the other category. It's golf courses, you know, it consumes a lot of land.
So indoor recreation is allowed, if it's indoor. Outdoor, which is gonna be the privately owned recreational facilities such as golf courses, country, swimming and tennis clubs, those activities.
So, for example, someone wants to teach yoga classes outside, it's not allowed.
They can teach it outside. They can teach it because it's not, they're not setting up,
A use.
a use. You can do it on park property if you want to. People do that, and go to the park property.
I guess I don't understand the distinction.
If you want to open up a golf club or a country, not a country, but a golf club, golf course, that's what this category.
So we can't have, just as an example, outdoor axe throw? Just an example. There's, I mean, a lot of downtowns have these things, and sometimes they're inside, but what if they?
Most of the time it's inside,
Most of
right?
the time it's
Because
inside.
it's important, yeah, they don't have a lot.
That's just an example.
So everything that consumes a lot of land is not really, you know,
An efficient use of the property.
yeah, it's not inclined to be in the downtown. Unless you have a park, right?
I guess I don't understand the definition, but that's fine.
I think that's good.
Okay. Publicly owned, active recreational facilities such as athletic fields, parks, swimming pools, tennis. That one. I don't remember.
So,
That was publicly.
just out of curiosity, someone builds a multi-story, multi-use building and has a swim club above the garage.
Indoors, right?
Outdoors.
Above the garage,
You
A third floor,
advertise above the garage.
a third floor outdoor pool.
But that would be mixed use though.
well, but it's
But it's
still in the
prohibited.
building,
So
right?
so the difference is that this is gonna be the primary use of that.
Yeah, it's
So
not,
if it's an accessory to the building, it's fine, as long as the primary use of that building is something different.
you're not gonna have a country club.
You're gonna have a three-story country club, a three-story swimming area, which I doubt. If it's a primary use, it's not gonna be allowed. But if you have retail on the bottom, hotel on the
What?
second floor, a swimming facility on the top, the primary use is not, this. It's gonna be,
Okay.
yeah.
I just thought you all want to have fun in the downtown. Not
We
outside.
do indoors.
Indoor active throwing, yes.
No fun outside.
He's
no
thinking
fun
of like a
outside.
cruise ship there, you know, like the upstairs basketball court on the top and, you know, pickleball, like Vegas,
Again,
yeah.
it's not the primary.
We're gonna
use,
do a
right?
big slide from the roof of
The
this building.
slide down there on the
Slide.
slide.
And go forest in the top of the building.
Exactly, golf cart, exactly.
And
Mini golf on the roof.
Oh, that's a good question.
Under publicly owned recreational facilities, I see parks. What kind of a park that is publicly owned? I don't understand, what is that parks? And as athletic fields, okay, parks, what can be there in the parks?
So you have like Round Lake Park, you have,
But that is city owned.
that's public, yeah.
That's
public.
public. This is
So
all
city
public.
facility,
So it is public park.
yeah.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay, golf driving range not associated with the golf course.
So, I'm sorry, a playground outside is allowed or not allowed if it's privately owned?
Is that the primary use?
Yeah, it's an accessory use or primary use?
I don't know how to define that in a mixed-use area with mixed-use buildings.
So if you have a building, if you have apartments, right? If you have apartments and you want a playground for the kids to play, the primary use is gonna be the apartment. And
Okay.
you're required to have recreation as part of your apartment anyway.
Okay, I'll let it go.
So the difference between the primary use and accessory use.
I got you. I'm sorry.
Any more questions about parks?
I just want to make sure we can have fun, that's all.
I have a question about parks. I think we talked about this, but I don't see it anywhere here. More and more people are owning recreational vehicles, which is needing recreational or RV park site, but I don't see it anywhere in the city code. It is in Winter Springs, it is in Orange County, it is in Seminole County.
It is county, I think. It's parking. Parking.
Yeah, it's under, it's there.
Where?
Parking.
Surface
lots
parking.
Not located on a lot on which they're.
But
So
does
that's
that includes RV park?
Parking, vehicle parking can be RV, boats, and we have in the city.
Are you talking RV parking / storage or an RV park?
No, not storage, park.
A park where
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it is more and more needed, and a lot of people have it, but there's no place to go park them. And they
Okay,
can't have it at home.
let's just have a conversation about that. How many people here agree with having an RV park in the city? Raise your hand. You have two people, just you and Mr. Jackson.
I had two developers looking for land in Oviedo, and I remember I called, and I was told that we don't allow it.
I can tell you that the residents,
It's still not, even if it was, it's just not feasible for the price of the land, you can't make that work.
No, I mean, an RV park can be in any R2, R3, that would be very suitable use. Because people have RVs, but they can't park them anywhere in the city. Where are they going to
No,
go?
parking is we allow. We do not allow the park, right? That everybody goes to.
That has the facility,
That has the
that has a 50 amp
facility.
hookup, that has.
That has the
Yeah, it has
bathroom,
hookup, right.
whatever.
It is more or less like a mobile home park.
Right.
and you see, at the mobile home park, there's no MH1 on the map. And we're actually recommending deletion of that zoning district.
But we will be going to city around us that doesn't have it. Why?
Because we're snobs. It's not, I don't know what to say, but I'll talk real here and say because people don't want that.
Oh, can you open up?
I just don't see it feasible cost-wise, but realistically, I just don't see how you can make it cost-effective. The only place is, hey, listen, you got that big swath of land there, buddy, that's, you go a lot of ways.
Let me channel names. Anything that you can allow on our farm or town. I leave it wide open, you never know.
There's some great ones out there, listen.
I mean.
Well, I think we
We
should
don't
allow
have
his
a lot
property
of
as
land,
a.
to even have a RV park.
Yeah.
The mall would be fully placed that you can sit there.
Yeah, we don't, I'd say the trend, and I know that, I think we've even looked at it here, is, and I saw a Richmond American product up in Jackson all the time, is to build a larger square foot house with a huge toy garage that can, I mean, it's kind of like, the great outdoors out there and stuff, so I'd say that in the Vito proper area, that's probably more, if that was even feasible, that's what, but I think it is price prohibitive compared to what price per acre is going here, so.
Okay. So the next one, okay, so that one, it's, now, C1, we're recommending that it's a permissible use. This is a golf driving range, not associated. It's like tee it up. So it's permissible in marketplace. horseback riding, stables, it was special exception in agriculture, we're recommending permissible, and then in TLI, it's permissible.
Yep.
Vehicle sales or rental, mobile home sales, is permissible, there's no changes, permissible in P2, I1 and I2. And then, staff is recommending that we combine, mobile home sales with motor vehicle sales with repair because it's allowed in the same district. Motor vehicle repair and maintenance, no body work, special exception in C2 and permissible in I1 and I2. And so staff is recommending that we combine the motor vehicle repair and maintenance, no body work with motor vehicle painting and body work. They're allowed in the same places. Service station. We added, the consultant added special exception in C1, special exception in C2, it's permissible in I1 and I2. And I don't know what's a special exception in Gateway West, Mitchell Marketplace and West Mitchell Hammond Corridor. Special exception. Service station.
Oil change, right?
Yeah, oil change. So that's any building structure or land used for dispensing, sale, or offering for sale any retail, at retail any automobile fuel, oils, or accessories, general automotive servicing, as distinguished from automotive repair, may be performed. So
Can it be a gas station?
it's not a gas station.
Cannot be a gas station.
A quick lube.
Okay. No, I'm just making sure, yeah, yeah, quick lube, those kind of things, but not a gas,
Right.
and not repairs.
So that's allowed in Gateway West, Marketplace, and West Virginia as a special exception. Okay, car wash, no change to car wash. Go down. So this is the surface parking, and this is, garage on lot, garages or lots not located on a lot on which there is another principal parking. So this is for like your automobile storage places, like your RV storage, your boat storage places. So it was a special exception in some of the targeted areas and we removed it. They're not nice looking facilities.
So
it shouldn't be
let's talk
allowed.
about that, if we could. So think about, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because we have a structured garage.
All right, think about, you're gonna grow an area over 15, 20, 30 years. You're gonna have high-density development and perhaps a demand for off-site parking. And somebody can make a few bucks doing surface parking. Why not?
So we would have to distinguish between storage of like boats.
But this says surface parking and it's not allowed.
I know, so we can do surface parking, like
Okay.
off-site storage, off-site, surface parking. But we'll have to distinguish that use. Below it, we have structured parking, and perhaps we can just put surface parking. Surface parking. Because we need to distinguish between the ones where we're storing, vehicles, or RVs, or boats.
Bring it back then, I guess.
Is that what you're trying to say that this is?
Yeah.
It's not short-term parking, but
No, this
storage?
is surface parking. I think it was meant to be surface parking. What they is saying that allow surface parking.
As a use.
As a use.
Yeah, off-site.
Which is, that's what it is, but
Well,
temporarily.
but it says it's not
temporarily.
allowed.
Yeah, because we do not want to attract that use.
We absolutely want to attract that use as well.
No, he wants it permanently, but surface parking, so for someone else wants to just put surface parking on there, and that is the use.
That is what that
I
time
know, but
is.
it also includes boat storage, it also includes.
I'm saying make it distinct, so in a downtown area,
Yeah, I get the
you're allowing shared parking. What I'm saying is, before someone can afford to build structured parking, let them do a business that's surface parking, who cares?
So the business can have surface parking.
No.
He's saying
Separate and distinct.
Separately is something different. So that's what we're trying, I'm saying we need to separate. Because this includes both surface parking alone. It also includes both storage parking.
Well, so separate them and bring it back.
Yes, yes. So let's separate surface.
I don't see the separation. Why would we?
You absolutely want to allow the most vibrant area, which allows people to do surface parking lots. Why would you not?
Because surface parking doesn't bring vibrancy. You don't have.
You know,
don't
downtown
have-
Orlando, before some towers got built, had surface parking lots. It's a need
With a temporary, right?
for years.
But that's the thing, that's the problem, right?
No, I don't see that as a problem. What difference does it make who owns the parking lot if you park in it? I see.
It's not the who owns, it's the use.
That's-
Surface parking is not a downtown use.
So you don't want the entire lot to have, the only use on it is surface parking, because she's saying it's not gonna bring the vibrancy. It is-
Okay, so you're thinking about, we're finished with the place, the land is valuable, there won't be surface parking. But while it's growing, what's wrong with it? It makes no difference.
If there's a time frame that can be discussed, if there's a time frame, I can see why, but as a final, permissible.
So I think you're trying to-
That is something conflicting with the vision of a downtown.
But you're trying to muck with the private market. If land is valuable, when it's valuable enough, somebody's gonna put up a building or do something structural.
But then we would allow any use, right? We would allow suburban, whatever, because that's what until we get to the point.
I think
that
it's.
Well, that's what he's saying, if you just put a special use there, that's what the special use would allow, is a temporary, that's, again, I think of Sanford, like I said, downtown Orlando, any city that's rejuvenating itself or not, it's, a building gets torn down, it's sitting there empty for a while. The market goes down, so now it's sitting they expected it to rebuild immediately. Now it's not gonna be 5 years, 7 years, whatever, it's gonna happen. So what's wrong with, well, it's overflow parking and they're making some money and getting tax rolls a little bit. And then offering something back. It doesn't have to go on forever, but it's as a special use, and you could say it's special use.
But
It's a special use that's marketed for a year, 5 years, they have to require something, But as a special use, I could see that.
I agree that if you are going to do it as a special use with a time frame to allow for that, because if you leave it as permissible, then you're leaning on, okay, they may or may not want to sell
All
and
right,
develop it.
so let me talk about the economics. If you can go and build 50 units an acre on a property with a floor area ratio of 1, which is permitted in some of these districts, as soon as somebody can do that, they're doing that, okay? While they can't do that, who cares if they have a parking lot? Would you rather it's just sitting there vacant and
Well, that's what
disused?
we're saying, is do it it can always be re-upped, right,
Yeah.
potentially. But maybe
That's not how
somebody really
people
likes
do
the
business.
parking lots and never wants to sell.
I'm gonna go pave this lot, but you're gonna tell me to carry on.
I'm gonna be picking on you again, but, it's like having a big swath of grass that you're making money off of. When the ability to sell that exceeds what the income comes from growing grass and harvesting grass on it, that number is gonna say, go. They're not gonna sit there as business people and just say, yeah, I like grass or I like concrete.
I think that the city just wants to protect itself.
Oh, no, I agree.
And I think the city's doing the opposite, frankly. So Vito on the park.
What does it become otherwise? It just becomes vacant land that sits there.
It does nothing.
It sits there across from the pool. There's vacant land that's sitting there that the guy wants way too much money for, but that's all it becomes then. Nothing can be done with it. You can sit there and say, well, you can have vacant land,
but you can't park anything on it and have parking.
I think what Teresa is saying, that, yeah, if it's a special exception.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying, it's special exception.
But
I'm
we'll
all-
have it more time. So anyone else other than this group wants to talk about it? So is there a recommendation, what to adjust that to make it special exception with a time period?
No
So that
time
the market
period.
I would
can
say,
do what the
let's
market
discuss
can
with
do.
the consultant, that would be my, so that we can have.
So it needs to be market driven, period. Let somebody have a parking lot and lease out parking spaces to their heart's content. As Stephen said, as soon as it's economic to go vertical, they're gonna do it. It's absurd to think they won't.
That is going on downtown Center now, they're desperate for parking.
Right.
And it's vacant, the city.
We over the park, first complaint.
Hey, can you use your mic? I can't hear you at all.
Yeah, that's going on downtown Sanford. Whenever a property comes vacant, they lease it and until the property gets reused. So they're making use of downtown space for parking because they desperately need it from the merchants. But once the project comes in, and in fact, the owner wants to develop it, then they can cancel the lease with the city and build it. So it's the use of the property and it gives the city downtown parking until something else happens. So that is what's happening downtown.
So let's just put it this way.
I guess I agree with Dave.
A structured parking spot costs like $40,000 to $50,000. A surface parking spot might cost $4 or $5 or $6. So you're trying to create vibrancy, but you don't want to economically punish people. If somebody can make an interim use of their land and it's surface parking, who cares?
If we allow, as a permissible, we allowing surface parking in the downtown.
So
And so that vision that you showed to us, it's not gonna happen.
that's not true. You're ignoring economics. Why would anyone in their right mind have a parking lot if they could have a better use? Like Mr. Hall just said, Sanford is going through this situation right now.
Well, Sanford has also historic buildings, right, that did not have.
That has
enough
nothing to do
parking.
with it. There's vacant lots that are parking.
This is gonna be a redevelopment that will bring,
Well,
It's
So we're gonna go back.
for discussion, let's
Yeah,
discuss
we're
that.
gonna
I'll
go back to
agree to
the
disagree.
bill and I'll keep it 8:30.
Okay, we're gonna have to finish this one. We have the rest of our reports to do, not tonight. We'll talk about when. Okay, so surface, we added surface parking and then a note to discuss with the consultant about it being temporary in nature. Warehouse storage, no change with that. Scrap materials, junkyards, auto graveyard is still a special exception in that too. Agricultural farming excluding livestock, no changes in that one. What notes did we put? Did we put notes?
This is when I was going.
Discuss with Henley Horn if we should allow industrial agriculture or should we not allow this use in I-1, I-2 to compete with the other industrial uses. So this agricultural farming. Agricultural farming, including livestock, which is 1 per acre, it's allowed, was a special exception in agriculture, we're allowing it as a permissible use.
So, same point again. You have a downtown that doesn't get built all at once. Who cares if someone has a garden and sells a crop? What difference does it make?
So we do have a category for, farm, for the, urban farm.
Okay.
We do have that. We'll get to it. So borrow pit of mining, nothing changed with that. Borrow pit, landfill, nothing changed with those, and there's special exceptions. Utility, airport utility facility, no changes with that. Did we have a comment? We had a comment.
Vertiports.
We talked about vertiports, flying taxis to be discussed as a primary and an accessory. So that's one of the up and coming type airports, flying cars. They are doing that in Lake Nona. They're, yeah, I think that's true. So Yeah, so we're, wanted to discuss that with them. Cemetery, no
Post
changes.
office.
Oh, post office.
And can we cemetery?
Post office, should we allow them in OC, Gateway, or
Is it
Marketplace in
Dave-
West Virginia?
And just so for Dave, so Dave sleeps at night, this comment has been here since October 18th, so I've had all your comments here.
So should we allow it in those districts?
Sure. It's an innocuous use. Brings people in,
So let's.
and
put
the
it
poor
in
post
OC.
office is gonna need a new home pretty soon.
Okay, and then open air markets, flea markets, crafts, et cetera. It was allowed in RP. We deleted it from RP, this is residential professionals, what are those big flea markets?
Why does it say temporary?
That one,
Temporary, because it's not,
the
you
farmer's
know,
market is not a permanent thing,
Yeah,
sometimes
every
they have it on the
week, every
weekends,
month.
on Fridays, it's not throughout the week.
So, why? Let's say you have a building in a downtown area and it's a permanent market. Why can't
So
you
that's
have?
gonna be the open air market?
No.
no, that's retail. If it's in the
Retail.
building, that's the retail. The farmer's market is usually on the outside, right? So we made a distinction between
So it
those
doesn't
that are
say on that
permanent.
second category that it's outside.
So we'll have to define the farmer's market, what it is, right? But, so these are for the temporary ones, for the ones, you know, that you have in the Lawton House, the one at the Winter Park on Saturdays, that you set up and then you.
As long as permanent ones are allowed inside.
Well, if it's inside, if it's a market inside, then it's a retail, inside of the building, then
It's
it's a retail.
Okay.
Okay, so then you have communication towers. Did any of that change to special exception? What is that? Downtown.
Downtown neighborhood.
Yeah, so those are the communication towers, camouflage, towers, special exception in downtown. Yeah.
So let me just ask you, someone's got a tall building, there's a transponder on the top. Is that a tower? What is that?
It's an accessory. It's not a main use, right?
You have some uses now on the water tower. I mean, they're already there. I think that ended up being a special exception, I don't know. But now that wouldn't be allowed, right?
Downtown, is that what district is that, downtown neighborhood?
No.
No, that's downtown, that's core.
Yeah. We can put it as, I think it would be a tower.
Just think about it.
Yeah,
I mean, they're already there.
okay, let's think about that.
So, I think the tower's okay, the water tower, but if it's not, where are people gonna get their cell
It would
phone
be a
service?
special exception in sort of regardless, so we can
But
put
it,
it
but it,
there.
but it's not there.
We
is
can
what
put
I'm
it
saying.
there, DOT. Is that okay with the board?
As a.
But you said it's an accessory, so,
On a building.
Right now.
Right,
On the
no, on the water tower,
But if the water tower goes away, then they would have to come with the power.
with something, well, there might be something else, I would say, next technology that there's gonna be a whole different, you know, whatever.
Special exception permissible, that makes sense.
We do have a tower in the,
No,
which name
I didn't hear, was there consensus?
I'm sorry.
Special exception in the
Yes.
Special
downtown use.
exception, tower.
Yep, I would, special exception.
Okay.
I would look forward to what's next technology and where you might see other special, because again, as, I would see the towers will be going less, there'll be less towers, there'll be accessories as other things, so.
Wall use satellite.
Two more.
Okay, so bus stations, special exception,
Industrial and C2.
C2 and industrial.
So, again, why? You've got like downtown Orlando where the Lynx main station is. Why would you not want one?
Why is not one at the bus station?
Well, how else do you have the buses if they have nowhere to go?
Do you don't want a bus station downtown?
So, okay, you have a circulator, let's say, from Oviedo on the Park to this new downtown. Where do these vehicles go? They're not allowed.
For what now?
Okay, let's say you have a circulator, which has been talked about.
Little trolley.
And it's a little trolley thing, which call it a bus, call it a trolley, I don't know what you want to call it. And it's got to circulate in these core areas where you have density.
The stops and.
Not the stops, where do they go when they're done? Into an industrial area?
Usually not in the downtown, right?
Why not?
Well, you.
How many are there?
Because it's a storage, it's a more industrial use. They go
Links
away.
is downtown Orlando.
They don't do. they
The
don't
fleet
do
storage
maintenance.
is there.
It doesn't say that. It says bus station.
Well, but it's a,
Do you
yeah.
want a bus station or a bus stop? I mean.
But no,
You
bus
need
stop.
somewhere for the vehicles to go. Where do they go?
Not in
At night, when they
downtown.
go to sleep, they're not gonna be going there, they're gonna park it somewhere else.
So don't we have to at least assign one area that is permissible to make it? It would be industrial, if I were to do something of that nature.
So we have like no industrial land, and you're basically saying we can't have a circulator because there's nowhere for these vehicles to go.
It's a special exception in C2, so they can go in C2, or you can make it permissible in C2.
What are you defining as a bus station versus a bus yard where they go and then they do all the maintenance, gas filling and.
I'm saying there's no distinction.
Yeah, so we are so far from a bus station, right? The really bus station that you have, it's like an airport for bus, right? For buses, so you have different buses going to different places. It's a terminal.
Yes. The station is terminal.
Where are
I'm
we going
saying
to
make a
have the-
distinction and make sure you're not
We're
disallowing.
talking about bus storage, right, where the fleet will be stored.
Right. If
And
you're
that
gonna have
would
it, you gotta be
be, that's
somewhere.
not a bus station.
Is
Which
it
would be
defined?
industrial, which therefore.
We will
you change
define
it.
it. Bus station is not the garage for the bus.
So if you were to change that to.
Change the
bus
I-1 and I-2 to permissible.
Permissible and
And I-1
industrial.
I'm fine with that.
And
And then
define
they would
this.
have to define.
Yeah, yes, because station, stop, and storage, right?
And then, bus station. So the next one is adult entertainment, and that has not changed. The one thing that we did not talk about are, bars, here. So I wanna bring that up as well. Right now, we only allow bars, it's not associated with food in the new downtown. We tried to introduce it to the, old downtown area, we have some resistance. So now that we are tackling the permissible uses table, we need to discuss whether or not we want to allow bars as a primary use without food being associated with it, just as a primary use. And maybe the targeted areas.
Is the wine and beer breweries, I mean, do they have to serve food?
So this is in the retail.
No, but they are not a full bar. They can only
Full bar,
sell,
alcohol, full bar.
yeah, wine and beer.
We got rid of that rule, basically, didn't we have where it was, in a, had to be inside remember when Pat came with the liquor store? We changed that, we changed it back?
So we have where you can serve, beer and wine. If, we have that 51.
Right,
49.
51%, right.
Yeah,
But I thought we changed where if you could, if in a, like in a, it had to be in some shopping center, not with the blah, blah, there was a whole, I thought we changed it.
not to allow bars.
Okay.
It has to be associated with food.
Only in
Right.
the downtown, in the.
Right.
Middle of the park.
I thought it changed, I'm glad, I guess.
So the question is, do we want to allow it in the gateway, not gateway, but the targeted areas? So how comfortable are you all allowing it in West Coast Minnesota District?
Deborah, I guess my reaction to that would be, if we had an entertainment district,
No.
like around the mall, I'm not necessarily opposed to it.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said, if we had an entertainment district, for example, around the mall, I'm not necessarily opposed to the idea of that.
So allowing it in the marketplace district?
So today we allow in the Oviedo Park. That's the only place in the city that we allow standalone parks. So, I mean, we could give the same treatment to the old downtown, right?
So they're the same district?
Because they are, they are the same district now. So if we allow in the village park, we would allow over there too.
Do we allow people to carry alcohol?
No.
In the Oviedo Park?
No, when we tried that.
There's state laws.
Yeah,
that-
there are
okay.
state limitations.
Unless Center Lake is.
I'm just doing it based on.
Yeah, it has to be moved into.
They got it all
to the water and.
Just what you want.
I say.
Our comment said target area is
But I think what you remember is that we changed for the mall, we have one business that we had to define was not a bar.
There was something, I just remember something, yeah, there was some weird.
Whatever was the name of the, yeah.
So the question is bars and nightclubs.
So it doesn't have to be nightclubs,
Doesn't have.
just bars. Do you want to allow it in, I don't, our suggestion is to not allow it in the downtown neighborhood because of the homes, but perhaps, what are the zoning districts? WDCA, Central Avenue, perhaps.
I would think only in the downtown core. And by the way, can we change that idiotic name from DMUD, which is old? I know that's your comment repeatedly.
Yeah, we.
Just call it Village Core and be done with it.
Now I advocate for West Mitchell Hamlet that, like I said, channeling my inner Hank, don't limit me.
So you
With
want
one of the largest parcels left in the city, don't limit me in my options of what can go in on, a future vision of what could be down the road.
Which district?
West Mitchell.
West Mitchell.
West Central Hammond, so I have
So
one for
target area.
Marketplace, I have
Yeah.
one for West Central Hammond.
We have Oviedo Brewing in Marketplace currently. I know it's a brewery.
But that's not a bar.
Understood, but functions very similar.
Yes.
So that means that somebody could come in tomorrow and build a bar and.
Right.
They do it today,
Instead
but they
of
won't apply.
standalone bar, that offers full liquor.
In West Central now.
No.
They
Well,
can't
once
do
we
it.
adopt this,
Yeah,
yes. Let's say we were adopting this tonight and tomorrow they could do that.
yeah.
So I would say you want it in your core.
And the downtown core, so it's gonna be DMUD. Is there a consensus for DMUD?
Yes.
Okay, so what about Marketplace? Is there a consensus for Marketplace? That's the mall.
I think it would make
The
sense.
mall.
I think not, because here's the reason. There's gonna be a lot of, apartments, a lot of residential going there. The residents that currently live there, very happy that there's gonna be more residents. I don't think they're gonna be very thrilled at the thought and understanding that, oh, now we're gonna have bars, in this area on top of more residents.
So how about inside the mall, like someone?
We're doing full liquor bars, bars only, not serving with that yet. Right now, you have to serve
Just the bar.
beer and wine are a different category. And full liquor, full bar, that serves full liquor, drinks, et cetera. Is there that you have to do 50% plus.
I
Food,
kind of agree, because you know
then you can
that
serve
all that other
liquor.
stuff there that people are drawn to, it's gonna be more residential.
So the hard thing here, and correct me if I'm wrong, the density allowed at the mall is the same as the downtown core, is it not? So if the redevelopment vision is identical, I get it's different today, but if the redevelopment vision is identical, I mean, I'm not speaking for or against it, I'm just saying that the downtown core allows a certain density and a certain mix of uses, and the mall's identical, why would you have different things?
And you want to have that vibrancy at the mall, I think. You're gonna have residents, but you still have retail, and they're trying to build up that vibrancy with the mixed use anyway. So they want to attract more people at the mall area to bring back some of the vibrancy.
But they can, again, restaurants that serve liquor and alcohol, and they can get that. I think that better fits that whole design of having, was the PA place, the doctors, the things that they're trying to have. I don't think a bar actually fits in that vision, just having a straight out bar, full liquor bar, no food, whatever, you know.
Don't they have bars at malls? Just straight bars? They used to have one at the Mall of Millennia. And they had, Blue Martini. That was there. But
Oh, we like that downtown. We want that downtown. Downtown core. We want that downtown core. We don't want that.
And that's where I would say, I don't want to limit the vision of somewhere like, when you think about what Sanford has become, like downtown Sanford, and there's definitely just bars, and you look at the vibrancy that has, so that's where I'm saying, why limit? I mean, I understand, maybe not my backyard and stuff like that, but just.
We're gonna have to do a show of hands by each district for
Yeah,
that.
and if we are going to consider for West Metro Hammock, then the mall
Well,
is even a better place. right?
The problem with West Mitchell Hammock is it is an arterial road, we can't change it. The mall hopefully becomes a self-contained place, presumably.
But West Mitchell Hammock, where
West Mitchell Hammock
that site has
can't-
other ingress and egress besides Mitchell Hammock. So that's what we have to consider, is
Yeah.
that right? We do?
Right, but I think, you know, the issue, of course, with a bar is people have problems with drinking. And, you know, if they have to drive to this bar, that's not a good way to
Uber.
That's just not.
Uber.
Well, people can do that, but they don't do that.
I think we're looking at it today, but we do have a network roadway, once that area is fully developed.
Right.
So we're hoping that both sides of Mitchell Hammock will have that, you know, internal capture, you know, you have your residential, your non-residential, so that people are walking to your businesses. It's just not fair today.
So maybe the solution is allow it in the downtown core now, and it could always be revisited later when those places develop.
I think we're planning for the future today. We're planning for the future.
And that's where I think.
Madam Chair.
I think the one thing, you hit it exactly, but I think you have to strategically look at your future and what's coming up first. Oviedo in the Park is not near what Oviedo in the Park was envisioned 20 years ago. It hasn't hit its stride yet. It's still looking for it. It's getting, stuff's coming in and out, but it's gotta hit its stride. You know, the next phase is the old downtown, the Water Tower District, and go, so it's gotta hit its stride and start aiming for it. That's 10 years out in reality before it hit its stride.
I think though, with the comp plan, when we looked at the city, as a whole, we decided as a body, the LPA City Council, that we're gonna look at these different areas, these target areas for growth. And this is where we want to see, because we're planning for about 6,000 new residents, 4,000 to 6,000 new residents, in these areas. So this is where the growth is going to occur.
So can I make a recommendation, and we can do show of hands and we're all tired. So nothing in the, I can't see, the downtown neighborhood, right? Are we all in agreement? Nothing in the downtown neighborhood?
Correct.
All right, so the next is central.
And that's right around the downtown core, correct? The outside, downtown neighborhood is right outside of the downtown core, correct?
Yes.
It's the salmon color.
Right.
So central, okay, sorry.
No, I just pointed it out because that's right outside of downtown core, so.
All right, central,
We're not allowed to-
I'm not a fan of it in central. I don't think it's appropriate there. Okay, so we're all in agreement, nothing there. Downtown?
Yes.
Everybody good with yes?
Yes.
All right. Gateway, that's your,
Can I vote?
Which one's Gateway? Gateway is that the mall area?
It's just outside the mall.
It's outside the mall.
Like a
Yeah,
Walmart.
okay, sorry.
Gateway
Yeah.
is here.
Thank you. I say no. Does anyone else feel that it should go there?
It's so close to the mall area.
But so is the downtown store, it's the downtown.
I see that as being.
Are you gonna bring your case to
medical
these bars?
stuff.
You walk from the apartment.
Yeah, it's medical and apartments. So that's that area. Permissible, not, or,
No.
I say no.
I say.
Okay. Okay, while we're looking at it, so then, marketplaces, okay, so Gateway is no at all. Marketplace. I know this is an area of contention, you're talking about
Marketplace, for
future.
example,
I'm voting for, S. Anyone think it's S?
You're saying a special exception?
Special exception. Expanding, S?
Yes.
S.
S.
What would be the condition that we would put for S?
Is that?
Think about a condition.
No
Only residents can walk. You cannot drive.
Only, so,
Yeah.
so. No parking, no driving impact.
I don't think it should be here at all. So I was trying to be a little bit more.
No, how do you do it?
Can I say something?
Yes, say
The mall is not doing that.
Yeah.
And I think we should encourage as much traffic as we can.
Yes.
There are a lot of people who like to go to the mall, it's a nice place. They like to go there and find a place where they can have a drink or two, then go home.
So
So we should allow
in the mall,
around the mall
do you want
area.
a standalone that isn't, or that is, that have to be attached to something? Because I feel like if it's a standalone, building, you're gonna get a lot of pushback.
And
Nobody's gonna build a standalone.
I'm just saying.
But it was-
Yeah, no, but it's a
is it
standalone
the
bar,
difference
it's not
between a
attached to a
standalone
restaurant.
and
Yeah,
And inside the mall, it's the same use.
yeah.
Is there a difference between a standalone in the mall area?
I think in the mall, I'm.
I don't think people want to build a standalone in like the mall
Well,
parking.
I mean, is there a difference for that?
Yeah, right.
I think it's gonna be self-contained anyway. You're gonna have people who are we're concerned about driving, you're gonna have people who live there, who will walk there. You know,
So
so
I think these are the talking points when you're talking to people who may not know what it means.
They're gonna build a big bar in the old Sears Automotive, that's a good spot.
But consider many things, you know, for example, if we're gonna allow it close by, these people are gonna drive all the way there and back on the roads, and while they're maybe drunk or half drunk. So the closer we provide something for them, the better it is for them and for us.
Okay, we'll take the vote again. So, now that Sam has made his argument, what do you guys wanna do? Permissible? Permissible?
Permissible.
Permissible?
I'm not having no opinion on this.
Okay, raise your hand if you want permissible in marketplace.
Permissible.
One.
Permissible what?
In the marketplace.
Marketplace.
At the mall.
You are inside,
No,
yes.
I mean,
Anywhere in the mall.
anywhere in the mall.
Both or-
No,
both or-
it's anywhere in the
In the
mall.
mall.
But the question to you, Don, the question to you, what if they tear the mall down? What if they tear the mall down? We can't have it.
Nothing I've heard talks about them tearing the mall down.
They tear the mall down all the time. They're tearing malls down all the
You
time.
can build a separate building.
So we have four that want it to be permissible. We have four for permissible. Are you voting for permissible or special exception?
I abstain.
No, you have to vote. You are compelled to vote.
Okay,
So what, we have four. So I can vote for
Is this the scene from The Exorcist?
Is it
I
the
could-
small building only, or can they build in the parking lot something else, even if it's a bar?
Does it make a difference? That's my, does it make a difference if it's inside the mall,
They
they have a
can't make
bar
that
or
distinction.
outside?
It's the zoning district is the whole
Fine,
area.
I say yes. I I don't know what.
You can't.
You say yes,
I guess I have to say P.
This is a political decision, there's no like criteria.
It's gonna be
of what makes a
it's gonna be a
bar.
Tuesday for the council.
Fine.
Say whatever.
So you can just say how many Ps per whatever, that's a vote.
Are you those 4 Ps, are you the 5th P?
No.
You're a special exception?
Sure.
Dave, you have no opinion?
I don't like it there. It makes no sense based on a bunch of these arguments, but it just seems like a different character of area, even with the same density. It just does.
Okay, so what about special exception use order?
I don't know how to
You
do
made the
that.
point, there was the thing there.
I know, but it feels different. It makes no sense. I'm not saying I'm being logical.
Does anyone want to change their vote to permissible from special exception? You're on the special exception bus, right?
So who's permissible?
So permissible, how many permissible?
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's 4. And then special exception.
No,
So you need 5 in order for it to pass.
Oh,
We got nothing.
then it's not allowed in that area.
No, let's talk about special exception. Special exception, how many of you, since P didn't pass, special exception? Special exception is 5.
And that is
So you gotta
in the mall.
Now you
No,
need.
we're in the property. When you say the zoning district, listen, it don't.
We'll just change the development agreement. We'll have to change the development agreement. Right now, they are a DRI, so this will not apply to them right now. It's optional, because DRI takes precedent over this. So once, if they ever decide to eliminate the DRI, then this will become effective for the mall.
Probably should vote that.
So, okay, so then, I think we're finished with the table.
No, we
Can we
need to
go
West
home
Central.
There's one more area, somebody over here is
West
gonna.
Central
They say that's approved.
West Central, we put as for,
Marketplace.
First special exception.
Special exception. Okay, then West Central Hammock, permissible. Raise your hand. That's 4.
I should probably.
And then you cannot
No, you
recuse
can't
yourself.
recuse.
You
Because
can
They
vote.
voted against themselves, go ahead.
Okay, special exception, this is 4 that didn't pass. Special exception if the permissible didn't pass. How many of you are for, if you were permissible, why not be?
Wait, that's okay, so permissible did not pass.
There was only 4, unless you allow me to vote.
Like those college kids down the block, if you're drinking at a bar.
So the
Flat
chair
out
now
bar.
It'll be the bookcase too, whatever the name of this piece is.
If we're taking a vote, I would just say, I would, you know, the property owner is known to have developed one of the award-winning master plan communities in the country. So as I just keep on saying, you know, channeling my inner former member on this committee that's no longer here with us, you know, why limit vision and allowable, and now looking back on the chart, I do kind of, as we worked through the night, I wish I would have spoke up more and said, you know, why limit one of your last remaining large parcels, even with its considerable, you know,
Challenges.
challenges. I'm trying to look at, yeah, why limit it? And I just don't understand some of the committee members in their limiting of it.
So are you suggesting we vote again on the mall? Is that what you just said?
I voted for.
Well, are you asking the chair to have a vote again?
No. Remove it, come on.
Are you willing to change your vote on the mall?
You know, Sam and Mr. Archie there are ganging up on me, and so maybe
I think
I.
you should.
All right, fine. Oh, sorry, I'm getting cranky. I'll recall the vote for the bar in Marketplace as permissible.
Yeah, that's us.
Good.
Yeah, what are you
So Deborah said, I just couldn't hang it going be illogical.
Okay, I have a question. I have a question.
I know.
Future use, the comp plan is a 30-year comp plan. So does that make this a 30 years?
We might.
Because my question is,
Well,
can
that's
they
not
come
gonna be a
back
30 year.
and say, okay, here's my PUD, here's my design, here's the uses I'd like to do, can we change things at that point? Because my point is, I don't see any bar coming up in that area until that larger plan starts to come to fruition. So I don't wanna limit it 15 years down the road, but I don't think it's appropriate there now. This year, next year, within the next 5 years.
I don't know if you heard Teresa ever say, the mall's now PUD, so this wouldn't apply. Only if they get rid of the PUD at the
No,
mall.
she's talking about residential. So she's
So-
talking about
The bulk of the usable property in the West Mitchell Hammock District is under the control of this gentleman's employer. The rest of it is mucky, yucky stuff, and its vision isn't gonna happen in any foreseeable future, so you don't have to worry about it too much. So what do you have to say, Mr. Property Owner's employee?
I just caution anybody about making statements on use and challenges of property and muckiness and stuff like that.
So we didn't talk about West Mitchell Hammock, we didn't take a vote, the different.
Well, I thought that's what you were talking about.
Yes, so we're talking about it now, so we can take a vote. So my concern is, it's a large area, right? So
Which is
I-
not just, I wanna mention, is not just my employer either.
Right, but it's a large
Many
area.
others.
Yeah, there's the north side,
Yeah.
right?
So as it gets developed, I can see the vision of the future, but, within the next few years, I don't think it's appropriate. So my question is that where the special use would come in, that is something that it was appropriate in the right spot with the right, I don't know.
The
That's my
code can
question.
always be changed.
Well, that's my question, can we change this as the
Of course, we
vision
always can
starts
change
to
that.
come out?
This is changeable.
Yeah, fine, all right, we'll take a vote, bar in West Mitchell Hammock.
Can I just comment?
Yeah.
I have a problem voting for putting this into an area where you have to have a motor vehicle either to get to or to get home. I don't think that's the problem downtown, and I don't think that's the problem inside the mall. Mitchell Hammock, I think it is.
What's the
And I can't
density?
vote for it there.
What's the density that's in the flu for that West Mitchell Hammock corridor?
So, and I think we're looking at it today and not in the future. And I think that's the problem, because we are planning for development for that area as a growth area. And that's what we're doing now. We did that with the comp plan. So we are planning for that. So West Mitchell Hammock allows up to 24 dwelling units per acre, and for mixed use, it allows up to 30 units per acre. With the bonus, you can get up to 50 dwelling units per acre.
So, a comment on all this. The mall has structures that exist.
Correct.
It needs some help. What is there on West Mitchell Hammock? There's nothing there right now. Most of it, not a whole bunch of anything.
What's adjacent to it? A golf driving range, a ale house, one of the leading sushi restaurants in the state of the country, just around the corner, and a bustling Wawa that's a place that my lawyer loves to eat sandwiches at every day. And just look at the, across the street, you got Home Depot, and you've got all the little accessories, Cavalaris. That's where, when you look at the stuff that surrounds it, and I can sit here and see what the landowner envisioned in Brevard County, like I continue to say, why limit one of your last, of any vision on one of your last remaining large parcels, especially when it's got this kind of density attached to it?
So not only that, I think the comp plan, it identified 4 areas as target areas for a mixed use, right, development. So, and West Mitchell Hammock was one of those areas. So again, it's not happening today, right? It's not happening next year most probably, but you know, when it happens, it's supposed to be an area that has a mix of uses that competes with other, you know.
But a
large
code,
areas.
a code can change to deal with the then circumstances, right?
Well, we changed the comp plan, right, already to kind of help with the vision, to say this is the vision that is coming. The LLC is supposed to regulate the comp plan. So, and I'm not saying, I mean, it's up to the board. I mean, I have no problems with bars. I come from a city that has a lot of bars. And the other thing that we do not, so if you go to Winter Park, you know, to a bar in Winter Park, you don't have to show that you live nearby and you're walking, right? I mean, it's up to individuals to make the right, you know, decision if they're driving, if they have a designated driver, if they're gonna come back by Uber. So we don't regulate it. It has to be walking distance from, you know, from a residential area. But, so when we allow a bar, right, in the area. So it's just a thing. I mean, we can also postpone to the next meeting if you want to think about it, because, you know.
I don't know if we want to consider having locational criteria in the West Mitchell Hammock, like it can be only located to the south, or so many feet, perhaps, you know, I don't know if we want to consider that or not.
Well, the north can be redeveloped too, right?
Madam Chair, can we vote?
Yes, can we vote? So, all right, West Mitchell Hammock, permissible.
No. I agree.
Great. So special exception.
Special exception.
Okay. All right, that was it for the permissible uses table.
So before we close, I just want to make, we should have announced in the beginning, but we asked for Alexis Stewart to come today because we would like Public Works to start, you know, today was not an issue that involved Public Works so much, so thank you for sitting for hours here with us. But Article 4 has a lot of issues that relate to Public Works, and now a lot of the other articles. So we asked Alexis to come. Alexis is city engineer for those of you who are not familiar with her. And so I thank you for coming, and we'll do something for the next one.
So our next meeting is scheduled for the 21st. But we have Katie Magruder coming from Community Board, but we have not gone through Article 1 and Part 2 yet. You know, there's going to be a process. So I don't know if you all want to meet again next week, or do you all want to just wait until the 21st? Katie's going to be here to go through Article 4, so we can go through Article 4 with Katie, but it's going to be more than one meeting. That's more.
If you're talking next Wednesday, that's not what I say, so I don't know.
Next Wednesday we have a public board meeting.
Yeah, okay, so let's keep it on the 21st, and we'll just go over Article 4 with Katie and Part 1 and Part 2.
Okay,
So
we will
come
have to do a
prepared.
bar.
Adjourn, 9 to 5.
Come prepared with your questions.
What's that? Well, there was one.
Sam.